Welcome, everybody, to Crunch Time with Jeff, Booner, Lukas, and Gentry. How's the music? I turned it down a little bit. I think this is a better volume.
A little bit more, down a little bit more.
A little loud?
No, I did. The first day you did it, it was so loud, my eardrums blew. It was bad.
There we go.
Welcome to the show, Friday, April 19th. If you're watching, thank you. Subscribe if you're a first-time watcher and you're not subscribed already. Like the stream, and it helps push the stream out in the algorithm. And if you're listening, leave a 5-star review for the fellas, because we're on all podcast platforms except for Apple because they're being stupid. So, hey, leave a 5-star review. Support the fellas.
I've had like 50 people hit me up say, "Why can't I listen to you guys on Apple?"
Yeah, yeah, it's a whole nother thing. I've been trying to figure that out for weeks. But we'll get there. I'm sure it's only been 2 months, so we're trying to work everything in there. Trying to get everything into place right now. Right now, we are focused on the NFL draft, which is 6 days away, and we have our party next Thursday, which you can go check out.
Wow.
Link is in the description of every single video. It's on all our social media platforms. We're doing a giveaway very, very soon once we get a graphic made, and we're going to be giving away a new Lions jersey, brand new, edition.
Any color, any player that they have
any
available.
Any player, any color, it's up to the people. As long as it's available, obviously, we can order it. We're going to be doing a giveaway all on our social media, so please follow all platforms, subscribe, and you're pretty much entered. So that's just to give you a little head start here if you're watching. But fellas, it is Friday, Feel Good Friday. Got a lot planned. Full mock draft. We'll do a full first round. It'll be a lot better. No trades. It'll be a lot quicker because we've done these. It'll be our last one as well because next Thursday, NFL
game
draft,
time, baby.
Yeah, it's game time, and then the whole weekend we'll be covering the rounds, and then from there on out, it'll be discussing the draft picks, how they affect the Lions, where do they go from here, all that stuff. So our last full first round mock draft today. But tonight, how are we feeling, guys?
Feel like $1 million. Feel on top of the world.
Feel Good Friday. The chat's out. We're ready. It's gonna be a good one.
Yeah, I'm pumped. Great seeing that it's 8 o'clock now, and it still looks like the sun's up.
Yeah.
Love it, love it, love it.
I'm in the basement. Can't see anything.
Boys. It's it's in the not the best part of Toledo, and I walk in there and there's just trees. They have trees inside this coffee shop. It was fucking huge, and I didn't even know. I'm not really close with my mom's side of the family. That my cousin works there, so it's good catching up with him. But yeah, good day so far. Good Friday so far, fellas.
Klotz, went to a family reunion. That's awesome, dude.
Didn't even expect it.
Family reunion at the coffee shop in wherever, Toledo. I don't know what you called it, Toledo, but
it's 419, as he would say. The
419.
The chat will have the 5th pick. We do that. We implemented that last week. It was a lot of fun. You guys crushed it. So we're doing it. We're running it back. So the order is going to be Lukas picking 1, me picking 2, Booner picking 3, Mike picking 4, and the chat picking 5.
The black jerseys are sold out already.
I'm probably.
That's crazy, dude. That is crazy. I wonder how long it takes for them to get stuff back in stock, but that is unbelievable.
Doesn't surprise me. I mean, those things are. And it's been a long time coming too. I know there's some people out there that don't like them, but for the people that have been waiting for them, like me, I didn't order one because I was focused on just giving one away. But they're already gone. So
fair enough. Hey, Jeff, that's fair enough. You were so focused on giving one away, didn't want to get your own. I respect that a lot.
I didn't order a jersey. I got other things to worry about right now. But I will.
I'm gonna get a Dan Campbell one.
Yeah, eventually. I mean, I'll order something. I'll probably get a St. Brown black jersey eventually.
Give me a Dan Campbell black jersey.
I want a helmet, to be honest with you. If I'm being real, I want the helmet. That's what I really want. And I'm waiting to see who they draft.
Maybe they get Leggett.
Maybe they get Kool-Aid McKinstry. Might mess around and cop a little Kool-Aid McKinstry jersey.
It would be way better if it said Kool-Aid on the back. I'm just gonna say that. Throw that out there. So, just kind of keep my options open here. You never know who they're going to select. So it'll be a lot of fun there. But fellas, before we get and real quick, Coach Walk, I know it mentioned he's mentioning the merchandise. We've been so busy with this draft. The merch, we're building the website currently. That stuff's after the draft. We're going to get the website set up, Shopify. We'll have a whole store up so you guys can purchase merchandise. Really, we're creating it on just when we want to make merchandise. Like we'll make this and make 4 of them for us when we go to events or we do something.
But we trust me, we will get that ironed out. I already know someone who's going to develop our website, help us set up a Shopify, Printify, all that stuff. So that's after next week. So sorry for the long wait there, but can't wait. Sweet designs, a lot more you guys haven't even seen yet. So sweet designs, like not just Lions themed or sports team specific, but it'll be they'll be sweet. Who put? What are we doing here? What
wasn't I?
What does it even mean? All right, I'll tune in later. Have a good one.
Shout out.
Tuned in to say I'm going to tune out.
That's fair.
I don't know who did that.
Yeah, and to Coach Walk asking the question, why not have them at your draft party? Well, to get these printed the way we do them, it would be very expensive rather than having them printed on demand. So the website,
we want to make good. We'd rather have the merchandise come out and be good quality than just have a bunch of stuff ready that's just cheap stuff that you could pretty much get quality wise from anywhere. So we want to make sure it's like good product.
And the way we're going to sell them after the draft, we don't have to worry about like the actually producing the merchandise. That they're already, you just order them, they get shipped, rather than us, going out spending more money. And what are we we're gonna have to charge a lot more for the merchandise too. So it's like
we'll get it after the draft.
Yeah,
we'll figure that out. There's so much stuff going on. Once the draft ends, we have 3 months until the season. We're gonna get a lot of different things done. So patience.
Can't wait for that. But before we get into it, I think Coach is right. I mean, in theory, right? Like
that would be a great idea. We're just the timing of everything hasn't worked out.
Yeah, we got a four-man crew doing a lot of stuff here. So we're ironing out. Appreciate the accountability though, Coach. That's why we love Coach. He'll just say it. He's not afraid. All right, let's. This is something I saw today, Mike, and I'm sure you saw it. Before we get into the Lions stuff, I watched this clip of Dylan Larkin at his end of the season press conference. Got me pretty fired up. I'm not gonna lie to you. So we're gonna watch it, and I want your reaction to it. Kind of some of your takeaways from just media at the end of the season. I watched Steve and I watched Derek, both of their end of season press conferences, and it was. I'm not gonna lie. As much as I like to fuck with you, Mike, I liked it. I liked it. Here's Dylan Larkin speaking about just how they plan to go to the offseason.
For the guys coming back, we have to. This has to fuel you. This has to. It stings. And for the first time in a while, guys aren't leaving right away. We usually have guys flying home to Europe or wherever today, and for me, I haven't thought I was all in on hoping that we would make the playoffs, and now I'm trying to get healthy and back to work, and I don't really have interest in a vacation or anything. So the momentum we built, the guys returning, hopefully there's a hunger there all summer, and a little bit of anger and hurt from what we just went through. Hopefully it's there for them all summer. I know it will be for me.
Look at that. The captain. By the way, if you watch some of the clip too, he thanked the media for not diving into his business. I know he had a lot of personal things going on throughout the year, and he obviously was injured. He dealt with a lot of adversity. But Mike, watching that clip and the press conference got me a little fired up. I'm not gonna lie to you. He's a dog.
I mean, that's kind of what everyone's been preaching, man. He's a great leader. He means a lot to that locker room. He leaves it all on the ice every time. So nothing really surprised me about that. That's always how he's been. He's always been fired up. He's always been ready to go. So, I mean, it's good to know that the Red Wings are in good hands. And you even seen Patrick Kane go on and compliment him on how big of a leader he is, just a natural leader. So the Red Wings are going to be fired up, and to see Larkin kind of keep that same energy and bring it into next year, it's going to be great. Those boys are going to be ready to go, and we have a lot of young guys that are going to take that next step. And like the coach talked about today and Steve talked about today, there is a lot of youth movement that may be going on with a few defensemen and a few forwards. So they do have a few guys to sign, but overall, it was a really good press conference. I think Steve's been straightforward like he's always been, and you got a lot out of what the players, good things that you wanted to hear. And Same thing with Derek Lalonde. He's always been very straightforward, outspeaking. So it was good.
What'd you think of people? And I saw the comment. All right, I saw the comment, and I see other people talking about it, firing Derek. Where are you at with? And Steve, you already made it clear what he's going to do, keeping Derek Lalonde around. But what do you think about the job he's done and kind of moving forward?
I think like a week ago I said it. I didn't think they were going to get rid of him. I mean, people. I get where like the frustration came from at that point in time and whatnot, but I mean, Steve went out and handpicked this guy, and the team's gotten better over the 2 years with him. And as much as you don't think that he gets the players fired up and he doesn't speak to them, he does it, and he's been very good at it, and he's been very relatable to players. And people seem to forget that Patrick Kane sat down with Coach before he actually came here, and they talked it over. And the way that he ran the team was one of the biggest reasons that Kane wanted to come here, obviously, to play with Larkin and DeBrincat and whatnot. But the X's and O's with Derek Lalonde was also a big thing. They sat down together and they went over everything before he actually did decide to join the team. So I haven't been too critical on him as far as other people's have been. But, I mean, I think they're still in good hands. And Steve Yzerman isn't going to get rid of his guy this early.
I'm going to say this too, boys. I'm going to say this. This is something else. Gentry, I think you're going to agree with me on this. As much as people want to say that this doesn't remind them of the 2022 or 23, whatever Lions,
baby.
These guys, I firsthand at the Booner Path and everything, I firsthand saw what it took to go over adversity 1 year to take that next step. If I had to bet on a team to take a step to go contend for a Stanley Cup this next year, it's the Detroit Red Wings, baby. The Red Wings are going to do it, and I'm not going to say they're going to go win it all. They're going to be in that conversation next year. I bet you Patrick Kane comes back. I bet you they make some moves, bring some new dudes in, rotate some guys out, some new guys come up. Bang! Now you have a team. Let's go win some games. Go for a cup in the next 2 or 3 years. I think there's a chance in the next 2 or 3 years you're playing in a Stanley Cup final with this under this team. I'm in on that.
And Mike,
things like this is what shapes teams.
It seems like, too, a lot of the veterans in the deals that Stevie signed last year and just what he's done the last couple of seasons, he's lined these veterans up to be kind of – it all lines up for when the young players kind of blossom. A lot of the veterans, all their contracts are ending. See how this stuff's kind of planned. It's all kind of going according to plan here.
Yeah, he definitely didn't want to rush those young guys up, and a lot of people voiced their frustrations over that. But I think it will end up paying off in the long run. And a lot of people were critical on like Jonathan Berggren and a few others not being called up. But I think those guys have a solid chance of playing the whole entire season next year. And guys like Simon Edvinsson taking that next step. I know you got to get the extensions done for Lucas Raymond and Mo Seider, but that's definitely going to come. Those guys have been critical for this team. Mo Seider, he's going to be one of the best defensemen in this league for years to come. He's one of the best draft picks Steve Yzerman's probably ever had, reaching up to get him when he wasn't even supposed to be drafted there. So
100%.
The Red Wings are really in good hands with the young guys, and you got Nate Danielson, you got Marco Kasper that are coming up soon too. So they're going to have some depth up the line, up the middle with center. So they're in good hands with the youth movement.
Yeah.
I hate you guys.
This is
a Friday show for sure.
Yeah, this is
hey, let's throw him to the stand, let him speak hockey.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
In the background the whole time.
Yeah, Mike.
Jeff, I'm telling you guys, I want to tell the people this. I want them to know when we have a single cam up, we could see each other off screen. We're in like the backstage thing. Some of the stuff that's done, man, kills me. That was one of the funniest things.
Mike didn't even flinch. That guy's a pro. I mean, that's
Jeff in the middle just going 100% just to say something. That's unbelievable. That was like Gentry. I'm sorry, man. That's on that. Jeff did you dirty on that. Oh man.
You know who I hope
that might have been the best 100% I've ever heard in my life. Oh my gosh.
You know who I hope doesn't do the Lions dirty this year? I hope, even though he's 5'9", he plays a lot of heart. All right. Now I'm excited to see what Amik Robertson brings to the Detroit Lions. One thing you can't question when you look at him as a player and what the Lions like in specific players, it's worth that. It's work ethic. Look at this. I mean, he didn't have to add the timestamp. I mean, I'm just being real here. I mean, you can see on the tablet there that it's 3 a.m. But hey, I appreciate it. You know, he's letting the people know. All right, he's watching film. It's Lions Packers from last year. I'm assuming. I can't see the person. I can't see the personnel. I don't know who's
it's Packers. It's Jordan Love's out there.
Oh, it is? Okay, I can't see.
Yep.
But yeah, watching film, 3 a.m. Amik Robertson.
I love that.
Dude,
I love it.
I wonder what he can be. Like, I know he the last 2 years he's gotten better and better for the Raiders, and Raiders fans, I checked their Twitter, they were hated that he left. But can he, like, I know he's 5'9". Again, I hate using that. Is he a legit CB2, you think? You think he is, Lucas?
Well, before Lucas goes, I want to get Lucas. Lucas, wasn't he like the best corner on that team throughout the season?
Yeah, he was the Raiders, like he was their cornerback one, yeah. But I think if you're looking around the NFL landscape, he's a guy that try to think of how you could like make a comparison, almost like a Josh Reynolds of how he's like he can be your wide receiver too, but he's more like a corner 3. I think that's the way Amik is. Like he's a serviceable cornerback too, but you can definitely look around and see some upgradable guys that you could go after. But he's definitely like he's not a slouch or a complete liability out there. No, he's an upgrade from Cam Sutton. He's an upgrade from Kendall Vildor.
It feels better
than Cam Sutton.
On the outside, yes. 100%. Cam is probably better like tackler. Like when you watch Cam in Pittsburgh, you could see what he could really do. But Cam on the outside, I think, was a liability. No, I don't think Amik Robertson is.
It does feel like two guys, like a guy like Amik Robertson. He's only 25 years old, and he's like last year. You said, Lucas, he was the best at times for the Raiders, and he can be a CB2. He still has probably so much, building left in his career to kind of keep growing and keep growing to where maybe you see it all the time in guys' careers, especially guys that come to Detroit in the last 2 years to where, they haven't had the best career somewhere else, or they struggled a little bit or didn't find their, footing somewhere. And then they go to a spot that's winning and a good football team, and they go in there and they end up making a home for themselves and end up being like, that's where they kind of blossom a little bit. That's what it feels like it could be for an Amik Robertson is he's been the number 1 on a team. He can be your number 2. Maybe his best is at 3, but hey, maybe this is like a perfect fit, perfect spot for him. And he comes in here and he ends up blossoming into his like the best Amik Robertson of his career in Detroit. I hope that's what happens. Like, I hope he's just now getting like his career is on an upslope right now.
Yeah, especially when you're 5'9", he already has to overcome so much. Like he doesn't have, some guys are just gifted in a lot of different ways. Like he's 5'9", he's someone that's just signed a pretty decent contract. For him, especially for where he kind of came out of nowhere. I feel like I didn't really know Amik Robertson, and he's a baller. So for him, work ethic had to be kind of his bread and butter to last in this league. I mean, what's the average NFL career? Like 2.5 years, 3 years? And he's out here. Yeah, let alone, it's a corner who's undersized. So, hey, he kind of fits into that underdog culture. Like, I'm excited to see what they got in Amik Robertson.
Contract-wise as well, too. And this is the biggest thing, I think, as well, that shows like he has to work this year. And if he wants to stay in Detroit and he wants his career and make that money, his contract this year, the cap hit is only $2.85 million, and he got a $1.65 million signing bonus. He signed a $9.2 million deal, and it's only 2.8 in year 1. So and there's a potential out after this year. So to where the Lions could save a ton of money if he ends up coming in here and he's not what you thought he was to be your kind of CB2, and there's a guy next year you can move on and end up bringing in that's better. Then you can move on from him and say, hey, we're going to cut him and save some of that money. I think next year the dead cap, if you cut him, would be like, I think it's a $1.6 million I'm looking at here. So if like this is like a prove it year for him as well. He did sign a $9 million deal 2 years, but they made it to where it's on the back end to where they have an opt-out after year 1. And if he doesn't prove himself and doesn't come in here and produce, they have an opportunity to move on from him because he has this $6 million cap hit the year after. So like that is to me a little bit a guy who's on a deal like that, who needs to prove himself year 1. And he's looking to kind of make his name in the league. What other motivation do you want? Hey, you go out there and produce, you're going to get another $6 million next year, and you're only getting 2 this year. So it's an interesting. I think it's like the way they did that contract, bringing him in and doing that and putting him under that kind of microscope. Perfect. Yeah. Chip on his shoulder. That's a guy you want.
Lucas, I want to ask you this: if they actually do plan on lining Amik up as cornerback too, are you worried?
I mean, when he's going up against the X type of wide receivers, yes. Like when you talk about like the Justin Jeffersons, the DJ Moore, the Keenan Allens. But I think he also is a wide or a corner he's 5'9", but he does not play like he's 5'9". He's very athletic. He still does have long arms. So in zone coverage, that's not his strength, but he has the ability to get his hands in there. And when you watch how he plays, he's a man-to-man corner that has quick feet, quick hips. So he's good at man coverage, and that's what Aaron Glenn wants. He's an undersized corner, yes, but he plays above his size, and he's very physical, and he's not going to be a liability in the run game. So I mean, he's going to be a corner that I don't think we should expect to excel, but he's definitely somebody that can hold his own. But there's, again, when we look back at the situations where it's like we have Jerry Jacobs out there, yeah, he's going to get cooked by Justin Jefferson because it's Justin Jefferson. I think pretty much every corner in the NFL outside of like the Pat Surtain and Sauce Gardner fall right into that same category. But can he limit Justin Jefferson a little bit more than the guys prior to the Detroit Lions roster? Yes, but he's not shutting down Justin Jefferson.
So are you saying he's going to be like Sauce Gardner? I'm just kidding.
No, that's the exact. Nope.
Yeah, so you're saying he's going to shut down.
Can we address my height real quick? Is that okay? Should we do that?
What, you don't like that people know you're 4'9", or is that a problem?
No, I'm not 4'9". That's a ridiculous ridiculous height to give out.
You were 5 years old when the Pistons won.
I mean, that's crazy too. Gatekeeping the Pistons easy if you're listening. That's unbelievable from you.
Hey, at least you don't wear a size 7 shoe like a lot of people.
5'11". I'll give myself 5'11". It's funny. Right. Jeff tells people he's 6'2". I don't even think he's 6 foot.
No, I'm not 6'2".
That's a fact. And you're not. I don't even know if you're 6 foot.
You tell people that, Jeff?
Jeff's 6 foot.
He does. That's confirmed.
I do not tell people I'm 6'2". If you're gonna lie about your height, you got to add like an inch.
I heard him tell someone 6'2".
They're gonna know you're lying. So like for me, I'm 6 foot. You might slide maybe 6'1" in there.
Jesse Adams' Booner is 5'8", 250.
You say 6'1".
That's unbelievable. Who do you guys think I am? Who do you guys think I am? What is this? That's like a high school, high school nose tackle, dude.
That's a running back. That's not. I
don't know. I don't know
running back.
Yeah,
I don't know what's. I'm not 5'8",
ball boy.
That's a power back.
That's a ball boy.
It's unbelievable.
5'8".
I mean,
John Lord isn't completely wrong. I mean, I might be 6'2" with the hair. I think the hair adds about 2. You know, it's
the hair is about.
Do we count the hair? Do we count the hair?
Well, no, Jeff. You just did it again. You said 6'2" with the hair. Jeff Lord said 6 foot with the hair. Come on, you keep giving yourself 2 inches here. Shave your. I bet you when you shaved your head.
2 inches is a lot.
To be fair,
Steven said Lucas is what, 5'9".
That's disrespectful.
I think us being on camera, I think people think we're shorter just because we're on camera. I don't know.
I'm the short one. I'm like 5'10".
But you just takes.
That's more my build.
He's like, that's on me. I think that. Hey, Gentry accountability.
Mm-hmm. Well, what do you think I am, fellas? I'm at least 6'1", probably like 6'2" on a good day.
Yeah, you're taller. You're the tallest, and I'm
probably
like
6'1".
Yeah,
Jeff's probably like 5'11", and I'm probably like 5'10", and then I don't know, Gentry 5'7". Something like that.
Not 5'7".
I don't know.
Booner just knocked a hunt.
Now he just
everybody. Booner, where are you?
5'10", 5'11", like right in the middle, 5'10" and a half or something when I go to the doctors. Which I haven't been to the doctors in a while. I probably should go get checked up on.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Sorry, brain was working there.
Hey, well, let's get to Amon-Ra St. Brown because he went on RG3's pod and he had some gems. We didn't get to him yesterday, but I do want to get to him today. Talked about Jared Goff, which, you know, I think a lot of Lions fans are going to like. Also talked about
no way, bro. There's no way.
By the way, I did want to throw this out there. Someone just put in there Lucas is Caitlin Clark. I told Lucas that about a week ago. I said, dude, you kind of look like Caitlin Clark. He did not like that one.
Really. Ryan Lentz does.
No, I think you do more.
I ain't got no bush either. Shout out AB.
I think it's the nose, dude.
That Antonio
show is off the rails.
Yeah,
shows
Ryan Lentz looks
not used. Yeah, Lentz caught a stray there. I mean, what
he does. I was thinking about that earlier today.
All right, shall we get to Amon-Ra?
That was too good not to bring up.
The four dwarfs. I mean, that's aggressive. That's aggressive. Well, we met some viewers.
Slow down over there, Klotzy. Sorry, Jeff.
Hey, we're here. We met some viewers at the at opening day, so they could tell you how tall we are. We got to see them in person, so hey, there you go. Not dwarf. Booner's mom marked him at 5'10", 3/4 of the pencil the other day.
Coach Walk said, Booner, you for sure should go to doctors for your diabetes. the Kool-Aid videos. The amount of comments I got about that during the Kool-Aid times, man.
hey, it's fucked up. It's fucked up. All right, let's get to Amon-Ra. We'll play the video. This is him on Jared. He had a quote here. He said, he's worth every dollar that he gets. And I can't wait for him to be a part of the future for a long time. So let's play that clip. Him talking about his quarterback here. So here's Amon-Ra, RG3's pod, talking about Jared Goff. Let me make sure the volume's up. All right.
In your mind, Jared Goff is worth 45, 50, 55 million per year as a starting quarterback?
I mean, for me, first of all, I mean, I think as his receiver, I mean, he does things out in the field that, I'm used to it because I've only played with him my whole career. I've been lucky enough to have one quarterback. But he's, accurate, commands the offense, all the stuff you want in a quarterback. But then you look at the Detroit Lions history. I mean, when's the last time we weren't, this deep in the playoffs, won this many games? When we first got there, like I said, we only won 3 games. So to see what he's done with this Detroit football team from, 2 years ago or 3 years ago to now, he's winning games. I think winning is a big part of this, of this sport, especially for a quarterback. So, and that's what he's doing. He's winning games. And you go look at his stats too. They're up there with some of the best quarterbacks in the league. So he's worth every dollar that he gets. And I can't wait for him, for him to get paid and be a part of this future for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about in your mind.
Well, hey,
people are mad to hear it. People are mad to hear it, Jeff. People are mad to hear it.
Why am I mad to hear it?
The Hooker stands are
Hooker time, baby.
I mean, yeah, but that's the thing. I don't like the pick a side thing. I hate that.
Tell me all the time, Booner, don't be in the middle. Pick a side. That's Jeff. You've been teaching me a little bit over the last year.
Booner,
he gave you that.
Booner,
he wasn't having that.
Booner,
he was not having that.
I think Jeff's getting red. This is one of those moments. I'll take a step back for you.
I think it's just what I say to you is, Booner, you can't always be in the middle. All right, I've learned that over my career as well. You have to just be. I don't know what the right word is for it. Say it with conviction. And Neil always used to come at me for that. Even though when he would bring up things, I would be in with I'd say things with conviction. He'd kind of troll me a little bit. But regardless, on this, I think you would agree, Booner, because I could say, well, I would assume you don't think Hendon Hooker is anything then if you like Jared Goff.
No, I don't. Excuse me. It's not that I don't think Hendon Hooker's not anything.
Okay.
It's no. What it is I'm all in on Jared Goff to where it's Hendon Hooker could end up being a great quarterback. But guess what? We already have our quarterback. Then I'll stand on that. We have the guy that can go win a Super Bowl with, and I'll stand on business as the kids say these days. I'll stand on it. I mean, it's just it's a crazy thing, and I put this in my notes for today, and I want to make sure I don't say anything bad here to disrespect anyone like you, Jeff, or whoever loves Hendon Hooker, but it's the weirdest thing to me when I watched this interview. I don't know if you guys watched the whole thing. The people inside of NFL circles, like Amon-Ra St. and RG3, for an example, and as this example, they love Jared Goff. They give him all the respect, and they literally give him his flowers and his props. Every single person within the NFL circles, you probably can go in any locker room anywhere, they high praise on Jared Goff. But it's just something about people like us, average people that aren't in the NFL circles that talk sports every day, that feel they have to have this need to be like, well, maybe there's always the other side of it. When everyone in the NFL, RG3 said it in this show, loves to just say, I love Jared Goff. I'm all in on Jared Goff. He deserves his flowers. People don't give him enough credit. And then there's just average people who just want to sit there and just go, oh, well, Jared Goff, you never know, man. We might have Hendon Hooker. We might be able to move on from him. But it's like everyone in the NFL is like, no, Jared Goff is a franchise guy. You want him on your team. And like, Amon-Ra said there, he wins football games. Jeff, he has the second, or I think it's the second, the third most wins out of any quarterback in the NFL in the last 2 seasons. The third most. He has the second most passing yards out of all quarterbacks in the NFL the last 2 seasons. He has the fourth most passing touchdowns out of all quarterbacks the last 2 seasons. Now, I get when you start talking money and contracts and this, I get that's part of it. But when you have a guy that's winning football games, you pay him, and then you find a way to keep doing it. You don't just say, let's just move on. Why not? It just seems like it's only fans, and it's only just like guys like us who are just, oh, well, I don't know about Jared Goff. And everyone in NFL circles like RG3, like dudes that know, like have been in the NFL, they give him all of the flowers that he deserves. I don't know, dude. It's something.
I just playing like devil's advocate with the Booner. I think sometimes, because you're absolutely correct, Jared Goff statistically he's up there with all of them. But because I do it sometimes, definitely just because I think Goff with those numbers, he sometimes gets like pushed into the tier of like the elite guys in the league. But when you look at his statistics, absolutely, I'm happy that he's doing it. But are there other quarterbacks around the league that could put up similar numbers in the situation that he's been given? I think so. So that's where I don't think people are like not happy that Jared Goff's the quarterback, but I think Jared Goff, sometimes certain Lions fans will act like he is the guy in the NFL sometimes when he goes out and throws 300 yards a week. It's like Jared Goff is a good quarterback, but when you talk about mortgaging the whole future, some people would push back just because they know that he's not the elite guy that they necessarily want for the team.
Klotzy,
that's just where it comes from.
I get what you're saying, but I think there's guys around the NFL that can put numbers up, but at the same time can't win football games. That's a fact.
Very true.
Dak Prescott, he puts regular season numbers up all the time. Guess what? They don't win. And he's not like Jared Goff in 2 years has more wins in Detroit than he has the last 2 years in Dallas. So, yeah, I get what you're saying, and I don't think you're mortgaging your future, even for $50 million. They're about to give Dak Prescott $60 million, and he hasn't won anything. Why wouldn't you give Jared Goff $50 for if he has won something?
No, I'm with you. I'm with you. Like I was playing double advocate there.
I would understand if you're like, well, he puts those numbers up like elite quarterbacks. He's up there in the top 3 with all of these the last 2 years, and he's putting the numbers up with the elite quarterbacks. I would get if you said that, and then you're like, well, he's putting numbers up, but he's just not winning games. Why would we pay him? He's doing both. He's literally the only thing you want in football is to win football games. He's doing that, and he's putting the elite numbers up. So there's no like, to me, it's where does that fall in line? And that's why I think it's kind of interesting to see a guy like RG3. So like if you watch the whole interview, like every time they talked about Jared Goff, he just kept saying like he mentioned about how people called him and I think I don't think we clipped it, but talked about him being a system quarterback. And RG3 said, I've been on ESPN and everywhere fighting saying that he's not a system quarterback because he puts numbers up and he wins football games. So there's guys out there who are locked in, and smart brains.
You go, Mike. I'll go last.
No, I agree.
Just ready to kill it all.
Yeah, no. I've been saying it since week 1. I have no problem extending Jared Goff. He's a leader of that locker room. He kind of is the guy that makes it flow. And for St. Brown to say that, I mean, it doesn't surprise me. Their chemistry last year just went over the top, and it's only going to get better from here. So I've been saying that 3 years, $49 million. That is my number, and I'm all for it. Bring Goff back.
So I just want to make this very, very clear. Once again, I've been a fan of Hendon Hooker since he was at Tennessee his last season. Obviously, I didn't know Hendon, but I'm not gonna act like I've been watching him even before then. But I love college football, Booner, and while we were working at our former employer, we did the college football show. So I got to kind of cover him a little bit, and I fell in love with Hendon Hooker after he went down. I wasn't sure of his draft stock, but I like Hendon. But I'm also not an idiot. All right. I want to make that. I think when you say things like people just want to dump Jared Goff, I don't think you should do that. I think that'd be stupid. And I don't think Brad would do that. You have to extend Jared Goff. Absolutely. You have to extend Jared Goff. I've never once said, don't extend Jared Goff. I have had discussions about the amount, which before all the reports, I'm like, I'm curious what he does here. Is he going to take a discount? How much is he going to get paid? 45 to 50 is not bad at all. That's fine. I mean, looking at how quarterback, because you just mentioned Dak. That's where I was going with. It's a great point. Like Dak's going to get 60. You think Jared Goff's $10 million worse? No, he's better. And you're paying him $10 million less? Yeah, sign me up. I think I'm more interested in the years. well, from all the talk, it'll probably be a long-term deal, but I would like the opportunity to keep it flexible. So if it's like a 2 to 3 year deal, at least you get to find out what you have in Hendon Hooker this year. That's all I've been saying. I want to know what they have in Hendon Hooker. I don't think it's fair to write Hendon off before we even see him in a game, based on what we saw in college. That's all my point was.
I don't think though, Jeff, it's like writing off, just moving with Goff. I think it's, hey, we already have a guy. We're not going to like write you off. Like, we get it. You might be a dude, but we have our leader. We have our leader.
Yeah.
He's a leader within the organization. It's not like you're just dropping a second string, like, or just a linebacker, or CJ Gardner-Johnson, who was here for a year. It's Jared Goff, who's been a part of winning 3 games and building it up side by side with Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes. It's been those guys. So it's just be like, oh, done. Hendon Hooker's that good. I think there's, and a lot of people want to bring up this Alex Smith, the Patrick Mahomes situation. It's so different than that.
I haven't brought that up. I want to make that.
I know, but I hear that, and I know you've heard it, and I've known you. We've seen people like that, and it's just so different. It's so different to me.
Yes,
it's a complete night and day difference.
I think that is the most overused example. Alex Smith to Patrick Mahomes. That is such an anomaly, because Patrick Mahomes, there's no quarterback ever to be like Mahomes. So that's not fair. Even Caleb, I wouldn't say he's the next Patrick Mahomes. I think that's a stupid thing to say. But where I was going with it is this, right? Jared Goff, you nailed it, Booner. I didn't disagree with anything you said. When I mean write Hendon off, I'm not even talking about you. I'm talking about a specific section of the Lions fan base where they're like, dude's a career backup. Based on what exactly? Like, what information do we have that would indicate he's a career backup or he's not good? We don't know. We know he has the tools. We know he has I think the leadership I really, really like. I just think he checks a lot of boxes. Now let's see. You're going to get to see him in the preseason. You're going to hear about him, because trust me, local media will be talking about Hendon Hooker. It's going to be a point of conversation. Just in general, people want to see how he's doing. It's not about really replace Jared this year, but it's just like, hey, how's he looking? How's he looking at, going against the ones? What's going on with Hendon Hooker? You'll find out more. That's what I just want to be open-minded, continue to be open-minded about the possibility that they have something in Hendon Hooker. That's all my point really ever was. Now, if you want to say stand on that side, it's like, okay, but am I supposed to be like, nah, dude,
I mean,
they got nothing. I like him, and I do think they have something in him, but I can still respect Jared and understand that this is his team and that he's going to get an extension. It doesn't make sense. You just made an NFC championship with him. Why wouldn't you keep him around? Like, that's never my argument. But you want to keep things a little flexible, just in case you do strike gold, which, again, Brad Holmes tends to do that in the draft for some reason. It's weird. So,
okay, and I hate that too. You know what? Now that you said that, we can have this conversation, because you did this as well when you made your Hendon Hooker video a couple weeks back. Let's not sit here and say, oh, well, we drafted Hendon Hooker, and then the people that go, oh, so do you trust Brad Holmes? He picked Hendon Hooker. Shut up. No, like, shut up.
Why is that shut up?
That's not a trust Brad Holmes thing. That is
you're gatekeeping Brad Holmes, basically.
No, there's no gatekeeping. He might have picked a great quarterback. That might have happened, but don't use that as an excuse to where, oh, you don't think Hendon Hooker should start? You're a Jared Goff guy. Oh, so you don't trust Brad Holmes in his drafting? That is the worst. That is the worst
I'm not
thing
saying
of all
that,
time to use that as an argument. That is the worst thing of all time to use that. He drafted Josh Pascal, Levi Onwuzurike, Hendon Hooker.
So you're saying,
like, I'm not saying he's going to be Hendon's going to be like that, but I'm just saying there are going to be misses. I'm not even saying Hendon Hooker's going to be a miss. You have a quarterback. You have a quarterback. It might not arise to where Hendon Hooker has an opportunity, because you have a franchise guy already.
Yes,
that doesn't mean at all Brad is a bad drafter. So when people say that to me, move on. Like, I don't want to hear that. That's the worst thing to say of all time in that position.
It's really not.
It is.
It depends.
We all trust Brad.
Booner.
You're just saying because we have a quarterback and we like Jared Goff and we just went to an NFC championship game with him. You're insinuating, oh, you want Jared Goff, you like him. Oh, so you don't trust Brad Holmes because he drafted a quarterback. No, that's the farthest thing off from it. Come on, Jeff. You're better than that, Jeffrey.
I just said I didn't say that.
You're better than that.
What? All I said was, Booner, he tends to strike gold, so I'm intrigued. What's wrong with that? I didn't say Booner just because you like Jared, you must not trust Brad. I never said that. All I said was the reason why I'm excited is because
I need to
Brad
do some homework over here.
Lucas, someone else. I mean, please. Am I crazy for saying that? I don't understand.
The whole reason I'm intrigued with Hendon is, and this is a very hypothetical situation, that this is more of a thought exercise, Boone. When I get so intrigued with Hendon,
such a dumb thought exercise.
But
no offense, that's not towards you.
You don't even know what it's about to be.
I thought you were talking about the Hendon Hooker whole thing was
no. This is what I'm about to say, and why I'm very intrigued. To Jeff's point, I would rather prefer Jared Goff on a shorter contract versus a long-term contract. Let's say the Lions are drafting top 5. Jared Goff is out, but they have the same roster. Let's say Jared Goff got hurt, end of contract, he's out of here. Hendon Hooker's healthy and he's in this draft class. I think Hendon Hooker would be, if he was healthy, a top 5 pick in this draft class. If you insert him into this Detroit Lions roster, I think that would be one of those situations where it's like, it really doesn't matter what rookie quarterback goes there, they're going to succeed. In my opinion, I think it would be a better situation than the Chicago Bears. So when you look at that and you look around the teams that have moved on to other quarterbacks, the Jalen Hurts of the world, what do they have? Good offensive line, good wide receivers, and a good run defense. The Detroit Lions have that. So I think when you look at the receivers that are going to be around them, they're going to keep adding them. Hendon Hooker, he's a first-round type of quarterback, and he's in a situation which first-round type of quarterbacks were to succeed. He has the talent to elevate this offense. So I don't think it's so that's why it's just like people that want to move on to Hendon, it might be a little ignorant in the moment, yes, but long-term, I don't think it is.
I just think there's this thing to where we finally, like, we won, and now people are starting to get a little, what's the
full of themselves?
Not full of themselves, like a little too rich for the money, or what is that thing where you like you start getting ahead of themselves? So you're starting to get winning, and you're experiencing this, and you're like, oh, I want more. I see Patrick Mahomes. I see this. I see that. I want more. Which
is fair.
And then when you go to the other side and you start reaching for things and I want this, I want that. Then all of a sudden you get into position. Okay, what happens if you don't extend Jared Goff? There's a lot of people don't want to. It's crazy. They're like, let's play out this year. Imagine if you did that. Jared Goff gets hurt. You can't re-sign him. Hendon Hooker goes in, isn't like Jared Goff, and you start losing football games because he hasn't played football in 2 seasons. And you're like, oh no, Brad Holmes, he missed on the pick. He did that. And then now we're in this side, and then I have to sit over here and I have to say, oh, you know what? I told you guys so. And I hate to do that.
I hate to do, you'd love to do that, Booner.
I do. The Booner path is about winning Super Bowls. It's about going to the NFC Championship game. It's about winning football games. It's not about winning and then just going, I need this. No, we're smart. We're strategic. No. We're very, very, we're very smart about the moves that we make over here. And this is one that we've thought about.
I think, if I'm just saying this because it's just my insight, because I'm your friend, I think your problem may not be with me and Lucas. I think your problem is with some other Lions fans, and you're kind of.
I didn't say you guys specifically either. I just said
okay.
I'm this. Right. You can watch it back. I'm tired of hearing this. I'm tired of hearing that. Like the Alex Smith and Patrick Mahomes thing. I'm tired of hearing that.
Which
certain things
is fair. Mahomes does not grow on trees. In case anyone didn't know, I just see the mobility. I see the arm. I see what the pedigree. And I'm intrigued, and I'm excited because you're going to find out this year.
So a lot of people I'm intrigued about, and I can't see.
Booner, I'm all for. I'm a Goff guy. I want him for the next 3 years, and it would make no sense to get rid of him. But are you not at least a little bit intrigued of the different looks that Hendon Hooker could possibly give the Lions in the future? Like even seeing that in preseason, like you're not intrigued at all. It doesn't mean like throw him out there day one, get Goff out of here, trade him away. But like you can be intrigued about like the future with a young prospect like him. Like you don't know anything right now.
Let's do an exercise. I'll throw this on you guys. Okay, just a little exercise, just a hypothetical. It's just like it's just something me and Adam have talked about. I don't think I've ever brought this to you guys. I'm just curious. Okay, look at the NFC North. All right. Where would Jared Goff rank right now in the NFC North, Booner, to you and to everyone? You put him 1?
1.
Right now, 1, but I think he finishes the season 2.
1.
Yeah, okay.
He's
what about you, Mike?
He's 1 for now.
For now. So so what I'm hearing is you think Jordan Love is going to continue to elevate potentially past him. So. And just
possibly.
Doesn't mean
he had a really good season. I mean, he still has to go out there and replicate that, but
winning as well.
Yeah, which is true, which is fair, right? I get that. But here's the other thing, right? Look at the NFC North. Let's say Jordan Love he's going to continue to get better. I know guys go up and down, but his hell of a first year starting, so you only can assume, right? Let's say Caleb Williams is who the Bears think he is. And he's not Mahomes. I don't think he'll be Mahomes. I think that's like an overrated thing to say. But let's say Caleb comes out and he's pretty good and he continues to get even better. And the Bears finally have their first 4,000-yard passer, which is crazy. They've never had one. So he continues to get better. What are the Vikings going to do? What if they get your guy, JJ? Right? Your guy, JJ. Now, what do you think about JJ? Is JJ going to... Look in the next... Let's go.
Let him finish, Boone.
Let him cook. He's cooking.
3 years from now, are we having this conversation differently? Where you're thinking, do we have the third best quarterback now?
Jeff. Let me sit you down real quick. Let me sit you down and let's have this conversation real quick. Do you know how you fix that situation if you want to keep winning football games? I've got a very, very easy solution. Are you ready for this? This is crazy.
I'm ready. Yeah.
Crazy. Ready. Put a top 10 defense on the football field. Whoa. You just had a top 5 offense for back-to-back years. In the whole NFL, you had a top 5 offense in the NFL for the last 2 seasons with Jared Goff. You keep that, and if their quarterbacks, they have Caleb Williams, and he becomes great. They draft JJ. He becomes great. Give us a good defense and continue to be a top 5 offense, and you're going to keep winning the division. You're going to keep winning football games, and you're going to keep competing for a Super Bowl. That's what it comes down to.
You know what help does that, Booner? You take a wide receiver 29th overall, so you don't got to.
Maybe that's it. Maybe, but to me, it's like, okay, we're comparing quarterbacks. Oh well, what this, and I get Adam just put in there. You're paying him $50 million. $50 million is going to be a mid-level quarterback contract in 2 years. If you sign him, that's going to be he's going to probably be like the 12th highest quarterback in the NFL in 2 seasons at $50 million a year. Dak Prescott's about to get 60.
Do you think Goff will still be playing at the level that he is right now, though?
Yes, he's 28 years old. 29.
Yes.
He's very young.
I want to make sure I get this clear. I wasn't doing that to do like a gotcha. I'm just asking.
Yeah.
I just thought that was
and I think that's a smart thing because there's going to be good quarterbacks. But I don't think just because they have good quarterbacks means like, oh, just because you have the second best quarterback in your division, he's still going to be top 10 in the NFL, top 12 in the NFL. You're still going to have a really good quarterback. Now, it just means you're going to have to go up against another really good quarterback every year, twice a year. Mm-hmm. And guess what? That's where your defense has to come in, and Aaron Glenn has to get his stuff together, and they're going to have to put a good defense on the field because you're going to have to help Jared out at some point. And that's where I think that's the biggest deal. And Adam says that all the time. It comes down to the defensive side of the ball. And I think if you keep Jared Goff for the next 3 years, and he's proven to go out there and put top 5 numbers up, win football games. Now it's a question of, can you get a defense behind him to actually continue to win, especially if other teams are getting better? So I think, Jeff, I'm a little with you. I've already said this. I think a 3-year deal is perfect, or even say you do a 4-year deal. I think even a 4-year deal, I'm with you, to where maybe you do an opt-out after year 2 or 3, to where, hey, if something starts going wrong, now we can move on. Or if Hendon Hooker does become better, now we can move on. But I just think it's the people who say, hey, let's wait till after this year to sign him. That's just, I don't even know the word I'm looking for. It's just unbelievable. It's
even real quick, I want to acknowledge Alan. He just thank you for the $14 super chat there, Alan. We appreciate you. Thank you a lot. Here, Andrew Jones also gifted a Crunch membership early in the show. So Andrew, we appreciate you. Thank you for that as well. And I think even for the people, real quick, I just will say this before we move on, because I do want to get to the other thing with Amon-Ra, because this is a good one too, Boone. This is something that you preach about, and Amon-Ra spoke right into your wheelhouse. But when people say the $50 million thing, I don't think that's egregious money, especially like we've already pointed out where quarterbacks are heading. And even in the next couple of years, like, will it catch up to them? They're going to have to pay, Panay, Aiden, all these guys. Although I lean that way, and I believe there is a ton of value with a rookie quarterback, you could also make the argument now, Boone, with having a guy like Brad, that you can replace certain positions, maybe not your pillars, but there are guys that I do believe are interchangeable because you have such a elite draft evaluator. Like, for example, and I'm not saying to do this, but hypothetically, let's say like Aleem McNeil, you're like, you know what? we can't keep him around. I have trust that Brad would replace him. Kirby Joseph, all love to these guys, but I'm just saying hypothetically, I'm not like, re-sign Kirby or nothing, because you have a guy like Brad who can replace those guys. So you have an argument there, but
with that, that's something we don't really talk about too. Like, we do have these conversations where Brad does go BPA and how he's like, I just want the best players. I don't care if we already have a player there. That's kind of to that point where in the next 2 years, year or two, we've had the conversations that they're going to have to move on from certain guys. And we've listed like Kirby, Aleem, Amon-Ra, Hutch. Like, there's just so many dudes they're going to have to pay, and you're going to have to move on from some, to where the way that Brad does draft now that we've seen about him saying, hey, I'm just going to get the best player there is and the guys we want on our team instead of doing depth wise or getting fill in the holes. That kind of helps out that scenario too, because that shows he's not scared. Like this year, he's not going to be scared to draft an offensive lineman, even though we have a bunch. And if you have to pay Taylor Decker, he's like, we can move on because we drafted one. Or last year with the running back, instead of paying DeAndre Swift, he got a running back and he said, hey, we can move on from DeAndre Swift. We don't have to pay him a ton of money. Yeah, and then that's just like, it's a TV thing. It's like wide receiver. Hey, if we don't want to pay Josh Reynolds, let's just draft a wide receiver and get him half of the price. And that's where I think his mind as well, and it works to his favor. Just going best player is when you go best player, now, like, imagine if Jazon Newton falls and he falls, and hey, you have to pay Aleem McNeil. Jazon Newton ends up being a dude in the NFL next year. Now you don't have to pay Aleem McNeil, and you have Jazon Newton and DJ Reader. So it's just like I think that's another benefit of Brad being Brad and drafting the way he does. So you can keep guys like Jared Goff.
Alan with another super chat here. We appreciate $7. Says, don't forget, if Hooker is the replacement, you will be saving $45 million a year. That's 2 elite players. You're going to be younger. You're going to be younger than, I think he meant then, the 49ers. Love you guys. We appreciate you, Alan. Thank you for that.
Appreciate it, Alan.
And we could spend probably all day on just Jared Goff. I mean, this is one of my favorite conversations, because we don't sit here and pick a side and argue. We try to look at this from like a 4,000-foot view, realistically.
It's a good conversation.
Even my guy Spencer here, he goes, not another team is in the NFL's giving Goff 50. Come on. The Bucks would.
Dude, there's a lot of football teams who would take Jared Goff on their team right now.
I think the Bucks would. The Bucks pay Baker. I mean, they save some money, but let's say Baker was like 40 an option.
40, 45.
They would take
maybe even less than that.
They would take.
You know what I'm interested to see, which is a key factor too in this, I think. Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars, there's rumors of them extending soon. So I wonder if he re-signs before Goff and he re-signs for like 52. Do you think that would like influence Goff in any way? Just because I think, without a doubt, as of right now, I think people could project Trevor Lawrence to be better than Goff, but I don't think there's any hill for you to stand on that Lawrence is better than Goff.
Yeah. By the way, Jeff Olson, real quick, he's a Bucks fan. He just said Bucks would not go. He spoke for me. You know, that's fair.
This is the point and reason why I get mad about the Jared Goff stuff is the disrespect. There's a lot of football teams out there who would pay Jared Goff $50 million to be their quarterback if they're winning football games. That's a fact. Hard fact. Cold hard fact.
Oh, that's gross.
I wouldn't say he's just as good as Goff. Come on, Jeff. Yeah, I know the year he had.
Oh, it's weird. What was the record this year versus Baker? Do you guys remember?
Team game.
They didn't have a run. They didn't have the running back duo or offensive line, but still, he's a better quarterback.
I was just wondering. My bad. I was just wondering. It was a real weird thing.
What would you say, Goff? What would you guys agree? Goff is probably back of top 10, maybe like 7 to 10, maybe like 8.
Yeah, I'd put him like 8, 9.
Where would Baker be? I think Baker's like top 15.
Yeah, I would say 15.
Maybe like 12 to 17, like that range. 12
is too rich, Boone.
Well, I mean, I guess it depends on the person. I'm sure who was commenting. Who was that? Jeff Olson. I'm sure Jeff Olson would put Baker at 12, but some people would have him at 17. I'm sure some people would have him at 20, all the way back to 20. I wouldn't be shocked.
But yeah, Jeff, that was actually funny. I can't deny. All right, let's get to and Jeff is correct. They had similar seasons, but seasons don't always,
Did they though?
A similar season.
Statistically, yes, Booner, they did. But
yes,
did they though?
If Jared Goff was playing in the NFC South against those teams,
wait, no, did they though? Jared Goff had the second most passing yards. Baker had like 9 or 10.
Well, I could say Mahomes and Goff had a similar year. So is he Mahomes? No. Like, you know, you don't do that. You know, you can't just do the statistics,
That's
which I get.
That's why stats drive me nuts. And
It's about you need a bigger sample size.
One
probably had a
quarterback's
similar
2-0.
PFF rating, Booner, whatever the fuck that means nowadays.
Yeah.
Well, let's because he was 2-0 versus him.
Let's get to the clip. This Amon-Ra on RG3's pod talking about just the Lions, their run last year, and how they're motivated to get their lick back this year. So let's listen to St. Brown on this.
You know, what I remember vividly is after the NFC Championship, you know, we get in the locker room, we're all devastated, whatever it is, and you know, Coach Campbell told us, you know, we might not ever be here again. And that's the reality of it. Is, you know, this league is tough. Some guys go to one Super Bowl and that's it. They lose it and they never sniff it again. Some guys are lucky enough to go again and maybe win it, but for the most part, guys get there and they don't get there again. So he told us that after the locker room, it kind of hit home for me. Is what that really means is it's only going to get harder for us. We got this far. We got that far last year. People understand going into this year that, you know, we're not the old Lions. We're not the, you know, sit down and you go, you know, run over us, whatever it is, beat us down. We're going to have a target on our back, and I feel like everyone on the team understands that. So just going into this off season, going into the training camp, to the season, preseason, whatever it is, you know, Coach Campbell he's great. You know, he's one of the finest leaders I've been around.
Yep.
So I know he's going to make sure he emphasizes that to us all off season going into the year, and I think we'll be ready. Obviously, you know, it's not going to be as easy or whatever it was for us last year. It's going to be harder. So we understand that, but we're up for the challenge.
And that's why I do respect Dan Campbell, because that's something that we've talked about a lot, Boone. And we came to a common ground, Boone. Would you agree? We came to a common ground at some point, a little bit. All right. Although
in regards to what?
About a window in the NFL and how I did. Remember, that was a big thing we already about.
Yeah, you were like, this is it. Yeah.
I was at the time. I still kind of am a little worried. It's hard, man. Like especially being a Lions fan, we've seen an NFL fan. You've seen teams make it. Not that they even made the Super Bowl, but go on runs and just don't get back. But this is a different product. You've argued that, and I've agreed with that.
You get that feeling.
No, go ahead.
I would say you get that feeling, like if you watch the NFL for a while, you know when a team like the Jags a little while back, I think like 2015 or 16, like teams like that. Yeah, and teams like that, they make these runs and you're like, oh, like how is this team doing that right now? And then you know they're probably not going to be back next year. There are those teams all the time. The Lions weren't that team. Like I think if you watch this football team, you would know they're far off from that. And the fact right after the game, that was one of the first things Dan said to the team was, fellas, I'm going to throw this out here right now. Not a lot of teams make it back to where we just went, and we're not going to be one of those teams. And a guy like Amon-Ra, what are we? It's April right now. When was that loss? In January, right? January?
Yep.
We're that many months out of it already, and I'm sure he's been working out, and these guys have been working for the last 4 months. And that's still on his mind is we're not going to be one of those teams that doesn't come back here. Like that's the only thing on their mind, and knowing that it's going to be harder and knowing that there's teams and that narrative's going to start they're very good. And Dan Campbell is very good at putting narratives into his team's head and using that as motivation. And I think that's going to be one of the biggest things this year is, hey, it's going to be harder to get back. They're going to be counting us out. They're going to think that we can't get back here, and we're just going to be one of those teams. Let's go out there and prove them wrong and show that we can do it consistently. And the fact he did it after the game directly in the locker room shows me that, yep, this is a real deal thing here.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that's important with it is the culture that he built. Like, because it's easy to say, oh, yeah, the Lions are still a good team. But as far as the locker room goes, it's a player-led team. Like, you can tell that the Panay Sewells, the Aiden Hutchinsons, like, they're leading that locker room. And that's very important because I think when you're in a tough division, I think if you look at where the Lions are right now, if you look at where the 49ers were when they got to the Super Bowl against the Chiefs and they got their ass kicked. Like, they didn't get their ass kicked, but physically in that second half, they got dominated. So when you look back at that, I don't think anybody ever doubted the 49ers getting back there. I think that's where the Lions are. But if you look at their different coaches as far as how they go about it, but as far as like Dan Campbell reminds me a lot of Pete Carroll, the fact he's got the locker room behind him, and every player on that roster would go to war for Pete Carroll. Every player on this roster would go to war for Dan Campbell, and that pays off because in those hard situations, it's that extra foot on the gas pedal that you need. Like players talk about all the time. Like if Pete Carroll is your coach, that's the best locker room you want to be in. That's the best environment to be in. And I think that's turning into what Dan Campbell's built in Detroit.
Yeah, every good team, Mike, you need a good captain. Well, if you're talking about a ship, you want to make the comparison to a ship. You need a good captain, especially when shit's going wrong. You got maybe some water coming in. You're like, okay, we need someone that could keep everyone calm, especially when you lose an NFC Championship game. That is like, especially for people that are players that are so young and they don't know if they'll ever get back. I love that Dan was just straight up with them, but also let them know, like, we can, but it's going to be much harder. Got to be upfront with those guys, man. It means something. It does.
Yeah, and no, that's like a tough reality to face, obviously, after the NFC Championship game, and to, like you said, to be straight up and kind of to set them up for that and to kind of fuel them for next season. I mean, that's big on Dan Campbell, and it just shows what a leader he is, like kind of Lukas said. So, I mean, it is a tough reality to face, but those guys are going to be ready. Like, that they're not going to be sleeping next year. Dan Campbell from day one is going to have those guys ready from training camp. So I like it.
The players too, fellas. If you just think about the players in this locker room, and on this team, almost every single one of these guys that are the captains on this team, Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Alex Anzalone, even like an Ali McNeil, these guys all went through losing. They all went through like the 3-win season. A lot of these leaders, they know what it took to get to where they are. And now they're at that mountaintop to where they don't want to go back, and they're going to, like, they have that mindset of being underdogs consistently. And I know, like, Jared was like, oh, well, the media needs to get out of that underdog mindset. I think it's good for like these players to know, like, we have a target on our back now. It's going to be harder. And I think these guys, you see them already working all offseason long. Like, these guys are ready. Taylor Decker, he had surgery, and then he said instantly he was back to getting ready and going again. And he's already in the building working. I just think there's so many people in this building that are mentally, they're locked in on winning a Super Bowl, that it's just inevitable for them to be back and for it to happen again. And I don't think you'll see them fall short consistently every year.
And that's the tough. Although I agree with you, that's something that I do think other fan bases believe, but I do think this is different. But to your point, Boone, about saying like this team and, they have it's tough. Like a lot of teams every year, there's a handful of teams that do believe they can do this, but what we've seen with the Lions and the product they're building, we believe it's sustainable, but there's some things you just can't control, which all are concerning, right? Injuries, bad calls. Like, that's why when you do have an opportunity, you have to capitalize. Not saying that last year was the only opportunity, but moving forward, you're not going to have consistent.
It turns into where you're going to have to deal with that.
I shouldn't say you won't. Shouldn't say you won't, but it's not always promised. You're just going to be back in the NFC Championship game. But
Jeff, it's like the 49ers. They're there every year. They go through injuries. They have things that happen. That's going to be something you're going to have to figure out and get depth and figure that out to where you're going to have to find a way to get there every year, because that's what your expectation is now. And that's why
with that, Boone, real quick before you go, and we talk about it a lot, Boone, what has to be at an elite level? Head coach and quarterback, and then you need obviously an elite GM. So GM. Really the thing for me, Jared Goff has a pretty big sample size of being one of the better quarterbacks, especially in the NFC. It's kind of a weaker, not a shot at Goff, but just a reality. Like, he is one of the best quarterbacks in the conference. But Dan Campbell, we got 1 year and a half. He's got to continue to prove, like, because you brought up the 49ers. They got Kyle Shanahan, who's, I believe, if not the best, he's one of the best coaches
Ben Johnson
in the game.
Thing. That's a big question after this year, too.
Right.
And I will be one to admit that. I had that Easy's in the chat. Shout out Easy. I've had that conversation with him in the past, going into after this year with the whole Jared Goff thing, is what is he like without Ben Johnson? So those are questions that every year, like, can Dan get a new OC in? Your guy, I'm drawing a blank on his name, the passing game coordinator, Inkstrand. He's a guy that he's kind of getting groomed to be the next OC, and he already had, interviews with other places. So I think it's just finding consistency in doing that. That's why, fellas, and I don't want to get known as like the Jared Goff guy. I like Jared Goff, and the biggest reason is just the winning. That's all it comes down to me. He does put the numbers up, but it's just winning. And I think having this mentality in the offseason, that winner's mentality, working, hey, we have a target on our back, and he's just in the middle, and he's the heart of the team, trying to get these guys motivated every year, and he did it all season. He did it when they were 1-6 and then turned things around. That's why it's so hard for me to say, let's just move on. That's all it is. That's why I love this motivation stuff when it comes from Dan.
And Adam put this, so loving Purdy is acceptable too, right, Boone?
I'm not a non-Purdy guy. I know earlier I put in the comment section I could have been quarterback for the 49ers and probably went to the Super Bowl. But no, Brock Purdy, they should have him there for a while. He's proven that he can lead. He's proven that he can lead them and make plays.
So is Jimmy G, though. So is Jimmy G.
Yeah, but Brock Purdy to me a little different than Jimmy G.
I agree with you, but they got this. I agree. Brock Purdy better quarterback, but they've gotten to the exact same place with both of them.
I agree, but I think you had a better. I don't know. It's that I think the Brock Purdy.
Well, that's why I brought up that exercise.
That's an interesting one.
That's why I brought up that. Oh, thanks for the thumbs up. That's why I brought up that exercise. That quarterback talent does matter. Winning is important, but you gotta have Brock Purdy. Like you just said, Brock Purdy's not Jimmy G. Why? They did the same thing because of he's more talented. I would argue Brock's more talented. So at some point,
Brock Purdy was
matters.
One game away from winning an MVP. Literally one game away from winning an MVP.
Yeah,
so
but
that's why
I thought that was a terrible. It should have been Christian McCaffrey. If any MVP is winning,
I agree.
It should have been Christian.
I agree.
McCaffrey.
I think Christian McCaffrey should have won it this year, no matter what. To be honest, but
yeah, and I honestly would agree with that. So that's where I'm at with it. But yeah, if Dan Campbell continued, would you guys, Lucas and Mike, would you agree with that? You got confidence Dan could be at that Kyle Shanahan level? I think he's getting there and he's working his way up, but there's got to be a little more of a sample size. Would you guys agree with that?
I don't think to the mastermind of the offensive head coach, but that's why I said it's a player-led locker room. Like this locker room where we need to talk about Dan picking it up. This locker room the whole time is going to be doing it as well, because you look at the Trent Williams and Deebo Samuel, as stupid as it, and then carrying out the beatbox before the game shows you they're leading that locker room. They have that whole locker room let in. So not only is Dan going to elevate his coaching naturally, but that culture is just going to keeping to continue to grow, because the longer Panay plays, the longer Aiden plays, they're going to learn what this culture is all about, and they're going to build that culture around themselves. So there shouldn't be extra head coaches inside the locker room, especially with all the coaches that they have that are former players too. So this system outside of Dan is built to get better organically as well. Can't talk right now, fellas.
No, you're good.
It's all good, brother.
Adam brought it up. If you're talking about, I'm not saying he's Shanahan in terms of offensive mind, but if you're talking coach comparisons, I think your Pete comp was spot on, because Pete was defensive minded. But still, to your point, culture,
different
staff,
style coaches, but you can still be really, really good.
Yes,
because Dan's a culture guy. He's built a culture that's a winning culture. That's what you've seen in some locker rooms. It's
one of those things where Dan
different things. No, you're good.
It was just kind of cutting out for a second. I think it's one of those things where Kyle, Sean McVay, those guys are football mastermind, but Dan's psychology, he's a human mastermind of how the human brain operates, how to get those guys to reach the next level. At the end of the day, if you have players that are self-motivated, which Brad Holmes tends to draft, they're going to go out and do their job regardless. So how do you kick them into the next gear? And I think that's what Dan's always been able to do, because even when the Lions were 3-13-1, they were still fighting in all of those games. And you could see that. And that's why people still continue to trust Brad and Dan, because they saw when this team gets the talent, they're always going to still try to keep getting better. And that's what Dan has built there. That's what Pete Carroll built in Seattle. Just a constant culture trying to get better each day. Yeah,
he's not there. He's type of coach, very different. I think Dan inspired teams to be, because before, remember, it was McVay, then you had Shanahan that were kind of the top of the game. You had Andy Reid, so offensive-minded coaches. And then here comes, Matt LaFleur's hired, Kevin O'Connell's hired, and then all these offensive minds are hired. Mike McDaniel's hired, and that's still a trend. It's something I personally prefer. But then there's other teams that Houston, where it's hey, we need a culture guy, man. We need D'Amico Ryans.
There's
Antonio Pierce. He's
leaders.
Starting a trend by him with kind of what he's done.
And I would argue Jim Harbaugh fits into that conversation as well. I'm not saying that he's just strictly a culture guy, but he's a defensive mastermind. Yeah, but that's not what NFL head coaches are getting hired to be right now. If you're a defensive guy, you better be able to lead the locker room. Same thing with Mike Vrabel. I think Mike Vrabel really kicked that train off, but Dan Campbell has really made it look more, desired now, because he's shown that he can get you there right now.
I think a lot of people did talk about too for Dan that no one in the league there for the longest, the last 5-6 years, it's been you have to be an offensive mind, you have to be in a Sean McVay tree, you have to do this, you have to be all these different trees, a Kyle Shanahan tree, and then Dan is the first coach to come in and say, no, we don't need to do that. We can build a culture up and we can win off a culture. And like they've showed that. I just think there's like you could be a high level and there's two different coaches. There's like the culture and the just leader of men guy like Dan Campbell and D'Amico Ryans. And then there's these analytics and offensive minded and guys that just strictly rely on that. And they might not form as close of a relationship with their players and kind of do all of that, but they're just so good at the football side of things that they're going to win off of that. But then you have the Dan to where the thing with that is if you're that kind of coach, you could try and hire some assistants that can bring the culture and set that tone. But that's not going to always work out. Now, on the other side with Dan is Dan can bring the culture and set the tone for the whole building, the whole organization, and kind of be that leader of men. And then at the same time, you can hire a guy like Ben Johnson and hire those IQ guys who can go out there and do that. And by the way, I want to throw this out there. Dan Campbell is very, very underrated when it comes to the X's and O's. There have been a lot of interviews and a lot of people. I think there's someone recently, even on the Pat McAfee show, when they were in the NFL meetings, saying that Dan Campbell, and this was like a high, it might have been like an Adam Schefter, like a high end guy in the NFL circles that came on and said, Dan Campbell tries to hide. He purposely, and I know some of you guys have already heard this, but I heard it for like a fourth and fifth time from high end people that he purposely tries to hide how good he is when it comes to football, his football mind. And he is one of the best football minds in the NFL on the offensive side. And as well, they said on the defensive side of the ball, he knows a lot. And that's something that a lot of people don't talk about. And Dan Campbell being as good as he is when it comes to the culture and leading the team, that almost is up there as well. If Dan's that good and you have both of Mike Lombardi sent it. Shout out to Coach Walk. That's who it was. If you have both guys that are a guy like Dan who has both of those, that's a scary coach to have. That's a dude.
Yeah.
That is an absolute weapon.
People act like this is Ben Johnson's playbook. That's why I laugh sometimes. Like, sure, Ben Johnson absolutely has an impact and adjustments and like going into the season, adding plays onto it. But the root person who designed this playbook, all these aggressive calls, all these trick plays, is Dan Campbell. So yes, Ben Johnson, obviously, he showed you that he deserves a lot of that respect, but it's almost to Booner's point, it's taken away from Dan where it's like, oh, this is all Ben Johnson's offense. No, all these schemes, it's behind Dan Campbell's mind.
Yes. When they brought Ben Johnson in, guess who was calling plays alongside of him before he fully took over that job? And before he even got that position, Dan Campbell. I think Dan was the one that helped him get to where he is today.
I think drawing plays is what Dan's very good at, but the play calling is where Ben really takes the next step over Dan. Cooking up in the kitchen as far as the schemes, Dan. Calling them, Ben.
Sound like defensively too that he is very, very locked in.
What you got to say, Jeff? What you got to say?
This is one of those things again, Jeff. I'm going to tell you to back down.
Okay, let me say this. All right, because and I'm glad Adam's in there for this conversation specifically. You guys know how much I love Ben, and I love Dan as well. All right, I don't want to make this like it's a Ben versus Dan thing, but play calling and play designing, I'm giving it to Ben Johnson. I know what you're saying.
I get it. You're in those rooms. You see them doing it. I get it. You see both of them working.
No, but we can say the same thing for us.
But here's the thing, okay? I think to Lucas's point, there's certainly an argument where Dan is telling the painter it's his canvas and he's telling the painter who's I would call Van Gogh in terms of painting to paint. So, but Ben's over there painting, and Dan's sitting there going, "Oh shit, this is coming together, boys!" Like, you know what I mean? It's all.
Ben is elite at what he does, dude. I think we all.
He is. That's why I put so much emphasis on like life after Ben, because we saw the play calling with Dan. It wasn't Anthony Lynn, right? Like, there's the difference, but it wasn't. It was all right. They got the job done for definitely, but you saw when Ben took over, like, things change. So, Lucas, I'm not saying you're wrong on that because you brought up the play calling, but I do think play designing, there's some things that I know Ben's over there talking to Dan. Like, this is what we're gonna. Like, I have an idea.
Yeah,
this is what
yes, 100%. But I think all of those
shit.
But that's where it's like where I'll push back a little bit is like the things that he's adjusting would not be there if Dan didn't implement them in the first place. You know what I mean? It's like to build a cake. It's like Ben Johnson, in my opinion, he was the icing on the cake, and he's the best fucking icing you can get out there. But it takes Dan to build those schemes. It takes Dan to be like, all right, in order to do this, we need to get Penei Sewell so you can draw up this play. We need to go get a Jared Goff and trust Jared Goff to go out there and make those throws. So I just think you're absolutely right with the things you're saying about Ben. I just think maybe give a little bit more credit to Dan while still.
Okay. I agree.
It's like the Goff and Hendon thing a little bit. Obviously,
that's why Tanner Engstrand. This is the thing is you're going to have Dan Campbell leading Tanner Engstrand next year when Ben leaves side by side, just like he did with Ben Johnson. Now, the thing that Tanner might have a little one up on Ben Johnson is starting as an OC when he does get that position is that Tanner going into this year, I heard this as well as last year. He kind of did the same thing. Is he is side by side, hip to hip with Ben Johnson?
Yes,
hip to hip with Ben Johnson,
side by side.
So now he is side, because he's calling the plays, and that's what you want. If Dan does know some concepts and knows how to draw plays up at an elite level, so does Ben Johnson. You still want Tanner sitting there because Ben can call plays. He is a great play caller. So put Tanner next to him, just like he was last year. Put him hip to hip next to him this next year as well. And now you have a guy in Tanner Engstrand who sat there and shadowed Ben Johnson for 2 seasons, and as well, just like Ben Johnson had Dan Campbell there to teach him and groom him to become an OC. Like, that is very, very good, guys. That's elite.
Yeah, we're very into Adam's point here, and I'll get to Easy because Easy summarized. I'll get to his first because Easy summarized it perfectly. Dan comes up with the philosophy.
Yep.
Ben cooks up the calls, which Lucas, you might disagree with that part. They
actually said that. Ben said that before in a press conference. He said he shows up Monday and Tuesday of game week, and Dan has what he wants. He has the whole game plan, the philosophy, what we want to do. He has plays drawn up. He has this. He has everything ready, and then he gives it to Ben. Ben said he gives it to him, and Ben said he plays off of that. He goes off of what Dan gives him. So Easy is correct.
And then there's Adam's comment. We're taking a lot away from what Ben Johnson has brought to the table and how fortunate we are to have him in the building from the Patricia era. He says, Dan deserves a ton of credit for allowing Ben to flourish, but you're crossing the line saying Dan taught him how to be an OC.
I think you could do both and give Ben all the credit in the world. It's literally, that's what a lot of OCs, it's like, that's literally saying like there's coaching trees, guys under Sean McVay, under Kyle Shanahan, like Matt LaFleur's who have gone out, like they have
But again,
those
are
guys.
The offensive masterminds, right?
Yeah. But why can't Dan be that? Because he's a meathead that's a culture guy?
No,
Dan has helped him as well. Just because Ben's been good at his job doesn't mean it was just Ben. Give credit both ways.
And to be fair, like
that's not taking away from Ben at all.
Because I saw when Adam also put up, he's like, well, where was this when Anthony Lynn was the OC? I was like, oh yeah, when Rashad Perriman's the wide receiver 1 and Tyrell Williams is the wide receiver 2. When that's the case, instead of Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, Sam Laporta, Amon-Ra St. Brown, that makes a difference as well.
They did get Penei after that too.
You know what? I can't with Adam right now. I don't know if Adam's arguing with us or the people in the chat at this point.
He's arguing with the people in the chat.
Okay, I'm reading these comments. I'm ready to fire off. I'm ready to go.
Fellas,
I went to the bathroom, blew my nose, and I was lost when I came back. And then I started reading Adam arguing with this guy or whoever.
Gentry in our private chat just saying, dropping the boys. I need the mock draft more than ever right now. Just
he said he's arguing with you, Booner.
Oh, with me, dude. I'm making a ton of sense here.
Well, he said, you guys remember a similar team. As soon as Dan he took over a little bit of play calling, and then really Ben was the passing game coordinator. And that's when I first found out that he was in the building and he was doing the passing game stuff. That's when I first was like, who is this guy? Because Amon-Ra flourished, Jared flourished. So like you saw that it was it was the same team, but he flourished when Ben in that same season.
A ton of Ben Johnson. Yes. He deserves a lot of credit.
That's all I think he's saying.
Adam, none of us are saying he doesn't. There's a reason why he's been a #1 head coaching candidate for the last 2 seasons, and it's going to be a 3rd season. There's a reason. There's not, and by the way, I agree with Adam too with the Matthew Stafford and Matt Patricia stuff. Stafford left and won a Super Bowl right away. Stafford proved exactly what was going on in Detroit at the time.
And he's calling you out here. I don't. Did you say that?
No, I say he's helped him.
Booner was saying how he helped groomed him, and how without Dan Campbell, Ben Johnson never would have been an offensive coordinator. And obviously,
if you asked Ben, he would say the same thing.
First-year offensive coordinator, he's going to have his weaknesses. And Dan Campbell, obviously, I think it's very fair to say this was a great buffer for Ben Johnson to be like, listen, I want you to be the play caller. You're a first-year play caller. There's probably some things that you got to learn. Let me help you out with these. And I think that's all Booner's saying. He helped develop him as a play caller.
And he'll do the same with Tanner. He'll do the same with Tanner Engstrand when he takes over. Like, it's going to be the same.
It doesn't mean that Tanner's going to automatically be Ben either. Like, I think
Booner, you're not saying like Dan's like
it's not like
this is crazy.
Yeah, we're like crazy. Dan's like holding his hand, like drawing plays. I don't think you're saying. But anyway, it is. You know, it's 9:22, boys. You want to get to that full first round mock with the chat?
Let's do it.
You have the 5th pick.
What a conversation too.
Yeah, boys, this is a good show. I mean, I know it's a feel good Friday, but we're getting serious the last hour, probably. I mean, we had some good combos. I like this.
Yeah, Booner fired up.
One.
I was going today.
I said we got Booner fired up.
Yeah, that's the best kind of show.
Talking about Goff and MCDC back to back.
Disgusting comment, by the way.
We're going. Ooh. That's coming from you, Klotz, too.
Yeah,
with the Stafford stuff. So that's how you know it's egregious. Klotz is picking 1. I'm picking 2nd. Booner's picking 3rd. Mike's picking 4th. Chat, you got the 5th pick. So like we do, we'll ask you guys to put your pick in the chat. We'll make a poll, and then you guys decide. And yep. So chat's included. All right, let's get to it. All right, I'm gonna get rid of this so we can all participate here. This is our final full first round mock draft. Final next Friday. We'll be busy covering the rest of the draft, and then Thursday it's time to get down to business.
No trades, correct?
No trades.
Fuck that. We learned the hard way last week between Booner and I.
Yeah, that
Booner. That was the most I've ever seen. Ever since that was the most I've seen Booner rattled since Fade by Kanye.
The trade.
Yeah.
You want to know why I was rattled? Is because even before you got on into in their group before the show, I told me and Jeff agreed on a trade. And we were like, hey, we're only going to do one trade this draft, and it's going to be for me, and he was going to move up with the Vikings. And then we get into it, and you're like, I'm trading. And I was like, whoa. It threw me off. I was like,
maybe got to stay on your toes.
I had already agreed on a trade pre-draft, and then I'm
sure that happens a lot in the league too. With them Brad Holmes calls.
Yeah, Klotz. They never see a GM like Lukas Klotz. I'll tell you that. It's fair.
Makes it happen, Boone. Sorry.
All right, let's start this.
I already know who I'm going with, Jeff. Let me hit that. Let me get the chime real quick. You're 2, Boone.
Oh no, I'm 3.
I'm 2. Booner's 3. Mike's 4. In the chat's 5. So that's how we're doing it. We'll start us off here, and we'll get the first pick announced by Lukas.
Wide receiver out of Ohio State.
Stop it.
Caleb Williams. Williams. Maybe the heart attack. Go ahead. Should be Mark, but
there you go. Who do they got as their other
BPA?
BPA. All right. Well, I have the 2nd pick. You know what? I guess you're in a position where these first couple picks are. I mean, Stevie Wonder could pick it. This is ridiculous. All right, we're just start the chime with the 2nd pick. Give me Jaden Daniels. All right, we're just going to make this thing. This is what's going to happen. I just believe it. Commanders are going to take Jaden Daniels. He goes 2, and now this draft starts, in my opinion.
I saw reports today, since we're on the conversation, and I can't confirm by any means, but Jaden Daniels is not wanting to go to Washington.
Yep. He made
comments saying place.
Yep, I agree.
Wow. Are you serious?
Yeah, no, that came out today, and it came out saying that he his agent is made comments hinting that he doesn't want to play there because of their history.
So are we going to call him a diva too? Are we going to call him a diva, or are we just going to stick with just?
That's very diva. Look at that wide receiver core. I would want to go to Washington.
It's fair.
Should I make a splash here?
This early?
Oh, this is.
Should I do something should I make a splash here?
What? Wait, Boone, this is your pick. You do what you choose.
I don't want to get like backlash here. I don't want to.
What? Who from who? All right, Boone, you're up. What are you doing?
All right, I'm going to go with the third pick of
the
third pick of the 2024 NFL draft. The New England Patriots select the third best quarterback in this draft, J.J. McCarthy.
All right. Got him off the table early. Boone, just put your nuts on the table.
I want to throw that out there. I think J.J. McCarthy's the third best. I think there's a chance he gets picked over Drake May, whether it's to Washington or the Patriots, or someone trades up into 3, or they make a move. I think that there's a chance that he's the third quarterback off the board over Drake May.
I hate him, Boone.
All right.
I had to.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. All right, Mike.
Marv, Jeff.
Adam, you know what?
Give me Marvin Harrison.
All right.
Don't make me do it, Adam.
Well, that puts Klotzy at pick 5 with the Chargers. Hey, what do you think?
This is an interesting situation, but
wait.
This is a chat.
Oh yeah, no, it's chat. It's chat.
What do you guys want?
Yes. God.
Come on, boys.
Keep me in line.
You gotta lock in.
Lock in, Jeff.
You gotta lock in.
Gotta lock in. All right, we got Neighbors. Well, we'll go off. Well, I'm thinking Alt, Neighbors, Bowers, and what else could they use? Maybe Dallas Turner, or if you want to do a Dunze. But
scroll a little. Can we scroll a little to see?
Are you doing?
So you got Malik, Joe Alt, Brock Bowers, and then that's probably.
I'm guessing it's going to be Neighbors. I've seen 5 Neighbors comments.
Say go Neighbors.
Right. Yeah, go Neighbors. Go Neighbors.
Xavier D, he says, forgot chat right out the gate. That's on me, man. All right, Neighbors with the 5th overall pick.
Yep. All right, this is interesting.
Time chat.
I know exactly who you should go here.
You're going with Malik.
And I'm going to do it, Boone. I'm going to do it.
You should.
All right.
I was excited because I thought I had the Giants pick, and I was ready to pick this play. I was ready.
Yeah. I think we're all on the same page. If Neighbors is gone and you're Brian Dable, yeah, you could take Roma Dunze, but I don't think he's the caliber of he's right under Malik Neighbors, but I don't think he's that caliber. And you look at what you got. You just lost Saquon Barkley. This offense is an absolute shithole. You're probably going to be in the same position next year. So you can probably go and get a Malik Neighbors or a Roma Dunze next year if you're in the same spot. If you're looking at Daniel Jones and you're looking at that perked out interview that he put out earlier this week where he looks like an absolute madman, hasn't really produced for you outside of his rookie year, Brian Dable, I trust as the offensive mind regardless of what the Giants' record is. You look at what he did with Josh Allen in Buffalo. Who is Drake May's comp? Josh Allen. So with the 6th pick in the NFL draft, Brian Dable, the New York Giants select Drake May, quarterback out of North Carolina.
Great pick. Yeah,
I think it's good. I think if there's a quarterback, whether it's JJ or Drake May, I think the Giants, they do it. I think there's going to be a team that trades up, but I think if they have a chance to get one, they're going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Real quick, Zay just became a Saquon. Thank you for becoming a Crunch member. We appreciate you, brother. Also, Elgato, he gave us some super chats while we were kind of arguing over there. He says MCDC should have a banner saying 20 minutes from Super Bowl. That's messed up, Elgato. And then Elgato also, thank you for the other super chat. He says Goff has to be more mobile this season. All right, there you go. We appreciate you, Elgato. Thank you.
Booner, you'd like this too, because when me and Jeff did his first mock draft, we kind of talked about it. But Steve Smith, I think, is probably the best guy breaking down wide receivers right now.
Great talking wide receivers.
He argued that Jalen Polk is a better wide receiver than Roma Dunze.
Love it.
And he just thinks Rome's a little overhyped. He's kind of the overhyped receiver in this class, he thinks.
Shout out Jalen Polk.
Well,
I'll get a jersey.
That puts me at 7, and this pick relatively easy.
Very.
If I'm being honest with you boys. Tennessee, you have Will Levis. It's Booner's guy. You got some weapons. You signed Calvin Ridley to a monster deal. You drafted an offensive lineman last year. You have to double up and take Joe Alt, pretty much the consensus best tackle in this draft. So give me Joe Alt. He goes 7.
Offensive lineman.
Yep. Mm-hmm. All right,
Boone, I think you're up now.
Yeah, I think this is an easy. I think this is a really easy pick for Atlanta, and I think that unless they trade back, they're going to end up with this player. But they're going to pick Dallas Turner. I think that's an easy one.
There you go. Yeah, that's. I would assume that's the pick as well.
For a second, I thought he was already picked.
No.
Well, that's
good. You're rocking it so far.
I'm playing for the future, and Keenan Allen leaving, taking Rome Odunze. with the 9th pick overall.
Okay, Roma doing
scary wide receiver core for a year too, by the way.
Some would argue that's a flat screen TV pick, Iafrate.
I would agree. I would agree. Likes a big flat screen guy. Agree. At least he has a contractual reason too, to be fair.
This is the chat too. The chat.
All right. Well, the chat has the Jets pick. So the chat you have the Jets. You can go offensive lineman.
Brock Bowers.
Yep. Yep. There you can go Brock Bowers. That's kind of that's the flat screen pick a little bit, but I don't mind it. Chat, that's fair. Get Aaron Rodgers a weapon, make him happy. There's some tackles still on the board. A lot of tackles.
All of them outside of Alt.
I see a lot of Bowers. Yeah, I think we're going to do Bowers here. I mean, the first 15 entries were Bowers.
Yeah.
Okay, so with the 10th pick, the crunch time chat, this is easy, boys. They're going with Brock Bowers, tight end out of Georgia. Right. There you go.
That's a great.
This is interesting.
Great for them.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean,
clock at 11 for the Vikings.
Yeah, and this is interesting. The fact that JJ's already gone, there's no way in hell I'm wasting an 11th pick on Bo Nix, and I think Michael Penix has some concerns as well, so there's no way in hell I'm taking him 11th overall. Give me a little scroll, Jeff. All right. Okay. Looking at it. I think you look around the division. We just brought up the Bears just added Rome Odunze. The Lions, Amon-Ra St. Brown. They're expecting Jamison Williams to take another step. And the Packers got a whole bunch of wide receivers that could take another step. So I think for the Vikings, their best interest with JJ off the board here is Terrion Arnold, in my opinion, the best corner in this draft. So they add to the secondary, and hopefully they can be able to stop a nosebleed this year.
Interesting. Very interesting.
What would you have done there, Iafrate?
No, actually, I don't mind it at all.
No. I mean, didn't Booner take Cooper DeJean there one draft?
Yeah, I did.
That was a moxie pick. From
he got his guy, man. Yeah, I mean, that was a Brad Holmes pick. I watched a lot of him, talked to him, and we had a great interview with Cooper DeJean, and he checked all the boxes. I had to go with him.
Well, that puts me in an interesting position here because the Broncos.
Take your guy, Jeff.
What do you mean, my guy?
Outside of Caleb, this is your guy.
No, it isn't.
Yeah, dude, I think there's something for Jeff to do here that he needs to do.
No.
I think it works out perfectly.
Actually, you're right. It's not my guy, but it's something I believe the Broncos have to do, which they don't have a second round. I don't think they have a second round pick. They don't pick to the third. You're not going to get any quarterback. So you're going to have to reach on a quarterback. And I think the perfect quarterback.
Your guy.
No.
I like this. I like this. I'm not going to lie.
This is a reach, in my opinion. Let me make that very clear. But you can't deny the Broncos. They have they have Jared Stidham on the roster.
They need a quarterback. They will have to draft a quarterback in this draft.
They have to, and you're gonna have to give me Bo Nix.
What? Wait, what? No.
Yep.
Hit it.
Take Michael Penix. Take Michael Penix. Bro,
it's his guy, Booner. I told you.
It's not my guy. It's what they're going to do.
No way. I'm going to say
Sean Payton he's going to want a quarterback like Bo Nix.
Guys, there's no way Bo Nix gets drafted over Michael Penix in this draft. Zero chance.
Zero chance. Aggressive.
No, dude, there's no way. Penix is way better than Bo Nix.
Reality, Booner, I agree with you. Like, Bo Nix is not even close to the arm talent that Michael Penix is, but to Jeff's point, Sean Payton, he doesn't have a history of a gunslinger quarterback. He likes building around the run game and then dinking and dunking. You look at Michael Thomas, those type of weapons. Jimmy Graham was their weapon of old when that's a tight end. So he doesn't like taking shots down the field. So
I'm in a tough spot here, and I want to ask for some advice. I don't want to do that. I might just draft.
Just draft.
We still haven't taken a tackle.
Can you scroll up? So this is my situation right now with the Raiders, and we can have this conversation just talking about the draft because it's in the 6 days. I think they would go tackle here. They need a quarterback really bad. They have Gardner Minshew, and that's it. They don't have a future at quarterback.
So just Gardner Minshew.
Well,
no, he's good. He's good, but he's not a future. Aiden O'Connell, I guess. You know what I'll do? Can you scroll down a little bit? Just give me the first tackle off the board here. Fashanu at the top.
That would be Fuaga.
No, he's not. Go all the way to
you want
top.
Boone, you want Fuaga here. I mean, take him.
He's the first tackle. You said give me the first tackle. That's the first one. Then there's Troy Fatanu, Olu, JC.
I want the Penn State kid.
Okay, you're going to go with Fashanu.
Okay. I want the Penn State kid.
All right, so
actually, I saw a mock draft of the Raiders trading up earlier today and taking him at like 8 or something or 9.
That would be Broussarded. That would be
Broussarded.
That would be Broussarded. Yes. Shout out.
I just found out about that.
I really wanted to take Michael Penix there. I
think it's a reality, Booner. It definitely is.
I really wanted to do that.
I think that's the best thing for them to do because their offensive line isn't great, but it's not terrible. You're in the AFC West, bro. You got to put up points.
Michael Penix, too, is one of those guys. We talked about this earlier today, too. He is one of those guys to where if he stays healthy, he's had so many injuries, but if he stays healthy, his arm is so good, and he plays like he is a very good quarterback. It's just about injuries, and if you can trust him to stay healthy and his medicals are good, then I would take him because I think he can be really good in the league.
Yeah, and I have a source that hopefully we have on the show here pretty soon that played in the Pac-12, played at USC, and he calls Michael Penix quarterback 2 of this draft, and he says, turn on the tape. That's all you need to see.
He's got an arm, dude. He's got an arm.
Hopefully,
Mike, you're up. You're picking for the Saints.
All right, so I was going to go tackle here, but I am going to switch it up because the Saints went defensive line last year, and it still wasn't even that great after doing that, making their first-round selection. So right here, I'm going Jared Verse to the Saints.
Ooh, I like that. A little Cam Jordan replacement.
Mm-hmm. Jared Verse off the board, pick 14. Now the chat has the Colts pick.
I think this is obvious.
Brock Bowers to fall to 15 so bad, fellas, you don't understand.
I think this is very obvious. Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell's still available. That seems chat. Let's be smart here.
So the chat chime in. I'll show you who's on the board. We got Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell, Latu, Newton, Murphy, Fuaga, Fatanu.
Show me your smart, chat. Show me your smart. Quinyon Mitchell's on the board.
We got a Mitchell. We got a Fatanu, I'm pretty sure.
This one might be a poll. I think.
Show me your smart. ETN said Quinyon.
This one, I think there's a lot more of a. Let me see.
I'm seeing Mitchell's. A lot of Quinyons, a lot of Mitchells.
Yeah.
Mitchell.
I don't even think. Yeah, I don't even think that it's Quinyon, Jeff. I don't even think.
It would be very dumb for the Colts to have Quinyon Mitchell sitting there at 15 and to not take him.
Yeah,
that's like
they didn't re-sign anymore. They lost Isaiah Rodgers last year.
All right, Quinyon Mitchell is the chat's pick to the Colts. That's a great pick too. There you go. That puts Lucas back on the clock at 16 for the Seahawks.
Seahawks. This is one of the picks that I think we talk about that really reshapes the draft because they could go any situation. They could trade out. But give me a little scroll here, Iafrate. Let me see what we're working with because they need offensive line. Oh, give him Fuaga. How is Fuaga still on the board? Mail it in. Run up to the board naked. Fuaga.
So now they got Charles Cross and Fuaga.
Yeah, that's all they need.
Tackle duo. Yep. Yeah, that's absolutely nasty. And that puts me with the Jags. Jags need a DB bad, so I'm going with Cooper DeJean here. I think it makes a lot of sense. I mean, he's still on the board. Terrion and Quinyon's off. Yeah, give me Cooper DeJean. Unless there's Nate Wiggins.
No, don't you fucking do it.
I'm gonna go Cooper DeJean. I'm going Cooper DeJean.
Hey, can you scroll just a little bit? I want to see the top 5 guys here. Okay, I've got my guy here. I think I know what they're going to do. I think it's going to be pretty obvious. If a big time defensive tackle by the name of Byron Murphy falls to them, I think they're going to go Byron Murphy, bring him in, boost up that defensive line. Just lost DJ Reader, so I think that's like a good replacement, a rookie deal, and I think he's going to be really good in the NFL. I think that's a perfect pick for him, Byron Murphy, out of Texas, baby.
There you go.
He's
Gentry's up.
One of the steals of this draft, boys. There's no way
he's really good.
18 overall.
Who's the best tackle available right here?
I think Fatanu's still on the board. Yeah.
Okay, I'll take Fatanu then.
Go with the tackle. They bullshit. Get that.
ETN's gonna hate that. ETN's gonna hate that.
And now the chat's picking for the Steelers at 20.
Yep.
Latu. Scroll a little bit, Jeff, so we can throw a couple names
out.
Latu
for LA.
They don't have LA though. Jerzon Newton's available. J.C. Latham.
Definitely, they just lost Deontay Johnson to Carolina.
Graham Burton. Brian Thomas is available.
Jackson Bowers-Johnson's here. They want a center.
Yeah, they let go of their center.
They need a weapon. Brian Thomas is still available. Latu, Latham. I've seen a couple Lathams.
Wiggins.
I've seen more Lathams here. Barton.
This is probably a pull one, Jeff.
Yeah, I put Barton, Latham, Latu, and maybe
JPJ.
Brian Thomas. What do you guys think?
So I got Latham, Barton, Latu, and JPJ.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
So really, people agree it's offensive line. Basically, it's 3 out of the 4. The majority of it was just.
That's what I'm thinking. I think there's going to be what happens at like 19, 20, 21. There's going to be like a little bit of a streak of offensive linemen. That's just in my head how I feel like Thursday.
Yeah, there will be. I think this is where teams will trade up for sure.
Yeah, like the
Dolphins. This is where if the Lions trade up, this is where it'll be.
Yeah, I think like the Dolphins are going to look at an offensive lineman as well, and I think the Eagles are going to be. I know they won't.
Oh, it's close. Barton's beaten. It's close. Barton, like all of them are close. This is a close poll.
Let's do. I'll count down from. We'll count down. We'll think about from 10 here. 9, 8, 7, 6.
Might be a tied poll, man. This is.
All right, what are the results right now, Jeff? What are they right now?
Latu's at 29%. Barton's at now he just went up. 29% for Latu, 26 for Barton.
All right, give him Latu.
I was gonna propose something too. If Latu kept falling and say Latu got to 22, I was gonna say I was gonna propose a trade for the Lions to move up and get an edge.
All right, so I'm up now.
Yep, you're up with the Dolphins pick.
All right. Give me a little scroll.
Hold on, all right. Dolphins.
They could go a lot of ways here. All right. That Latu pick would be interesting for Miami. All right, I think they just lost Robert Hunt. All right, yeah, so I'm going to go. We just talked about Graham Barton, but the 21st pick in the NFL draft, the Miami Dolphins go Graham Barton, guard/tackle out of Duke. I think that's another steal.
Mm-hmm. Well, that puts me with the Eagles here, and the Eagles need a DB.
Yeah, give him. Yeah, this is where he should go. This is where he should go, Jeff. Give him to him.
Eagles are taking Kool-Aid McKinstry.
Hey, you put him on. I thought you were going to take Nate Wiggins there. Make me a happy camper. He's like, do I do it now? Do I do it?
Honestly, they both had an injury. Yeah, I'm gonna go Kool-Aid. I'm trying to think of from the Eagles' perspective, but fuck Nate Wiggins, he might fall. All right, regardless, who's up? Barton or Booner?
Boone,
23.
You called him Barton.
Graham Barton over here.
Yeah, call him Graham Barton.
Can you scroll a little again?
Yep.
And then I remember I didn't give him a quarterback in the first because JJ was gone.
Oh, ooh. All right, I know this then. 23rd overall pick, the Minnesota Vikings select Michael Penix.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh,
good pick, Boone.
Thank you for that, because I was about to go JPJ, and that you thank you. That was good. I wasn't in the right mindset for that pick right there.
With the 24th pick, the Dallas Cowboys select J.C. Latham out of Alabama.
Ooh,
yeah, there you go. There's your
time. Jeff's getting excited. All right, so chat with the Packers.
They take a kicker. No, I'm just Who are you guys? What are we feeling for the Packers? They got Jerzon's here. You could go offensive line.
Wiggins.
Yeah, I mean Nate Wiggins. Yeah, Nate Wiggins. Tyler Newbin.
Give him Tyler. Peyton Wilson.
Yeah, I'm seeing some new.
I'm seeing a lot of Newtons. I'm seeing 3 Newtons so far.
Give him Milton.
It'd be beautiful. Yeah, all right. I think Newton's the one for him.
All right, that puts Lucas at 26 for the Bucks.
Can we propose a trade for the Lions?
No.
Lions straight up for a wide receiver.
Booner, isn't that my pick?
I'm just throwing it up. I'm just throwing it out there. Throwing it out there.
Make those type of
Brian
decisions.
Thomas is sitting there at 26. The Lions are going to look at it.
I'm sorry, Jeff. I'm sorry, but he's got to come off the board now. Mike Evans, I know they just re-signed him, but there's a day when he's possibly going to be gone. With the 26th pick in the NFL draft. Actually, you know what? I'll keep him on the board.
Well, is that even a Todd Bowles pick right there? Huh?
No, it's a flat screen TV pick though, and you got Baker Mayfield. But I'll hold him off there. I'll hold him off.
No, do what you're gonna do.
Your point. But when I'm thinking about it more, I think with Nate Wiggins on the board, as much as I hate it, I think this pick makes the most sense for him, especially how they lost Carlton Davis. They're similar in play styles, so 26 overall, Nate Wiggins.
And for me, I just want to keep
making this comment. If Brian Thomas is on the board at 27, 26, 28, Dan Camp or Brad Holmes will trade up and get Brian Thomas.
I think that's where when we talk about that 15 to 20 range where it's like boom, 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 like I think that's where a team trades up to get him.
Well,
I just think if Brian Thomas is available in the 20s, like this late, Brad's met with him and they've met with him. They obviously like him because he's that dude and they need a receiver. I think that's if
who's
that
in
guy
front
drops,
of him? The Cardinals aren't taking one. The
Bills will.
Bucks?
Bills.
Good point.
You jump
good
the Bills.
Point.
Jump the
good
Bills
point.
2 spots with the
Good
Cardinals.
point.
Cardinals. If they're not, if they trade back from the 4, they're just looking to add assets. That GM has already made it very well known the last year.
Yes.
Like last year in the draft, he does not care where he picks. He just wants as many picks as he can. Right now, this is where the Lions would trade up, and they would say, "Give me, we'll trade up 2 spots, and we'll give you Brian Thomas to take Brian Thomas."
Yeah, you know what? I didn't even see the Bills. I'm an idiot. So yeah, you're
He's
right.
He's that elite. Because I have the Bills pick. I'm going to have to take Brian Thomas. I don't want to do it.
I'm the Cardinals, and I'm going with Jackson Powers Johnson. So I walk out with Marv and JPJ. That's a hell of that. There you go. You're building around Kyler Murray. Then now Boone, you're up with the Bills.
Should I?
No, do what you think is right for the Bills. Don't do it.
Should I rig this draft?
No, Boone. No, Boone.
Do it how you think they'll do it.
Can you scroll up?
You don't even need to.
I hate my life sometimes, man.
Here, there you go. You get the whole layout.
I want to just take it Donnie Mitchell just to do it, but I just want to do that. All right, Brian Thomas Jr.
There you go, Boone.
So
if Brad Holmes doesn't trade up to jump the Bills and this happens, I'm not going to hate. I know Brad knows what he's doing, but
so wide receiver in the first round sounds attractive now.
Yeah,
Brian Thomas Jr. Yes,
but trading up for a wide receiver in the first round.
Brian Thomas Jr.
All right, Mike.
I am going to let the chat make my selection here, and I'm going to trade for their pick at 30, so I'll select for the Ravens. Chat, who do you want the Lions to pick?
Who are we thinking?
All right, drop him. Let's see the Xavier Legette start rolling
scroll
through.
A little
who
there.
The Lions picking, chat?
Botsy.
What?
Don't skew the polls.
Nothing wrong with that, Boone.
So you got there's some players. I mean, this draft is pretty much like worst case scenario for the Lions because like all the players we have mocked are gone. So you're looking at Mikey's here. There's some wideouts, a tackle. Darius Robinson's here. If you
let's make a poll. Lucas is skewing the polls to what people are just going to say Legette.
I'm not.
Lucas,
people are up to their own free will.
You just made me
Jeff,
draft.
Make a poll.
You just made me draft Brian Thomas Jr.
I didn't make you do anything, Booner. I didn't make you do anything.
I want you to do the right thing.
I am doing the right thing.
What would Brad Holmes do?
Smart decision.
What would Dan Campbell do? Thank you.
Are you cooking, Jeff?
Yeah.
WWBD. What would Brad do? I'll put Darius Robinson in there too. Mikey.
That's the tough part of this thing. I mean, I didn't put Mikey in there, but it's I just threw a bunch of names in there. If I'm being real with you guys, he would trade back, but like we're not doing that. So
you don't know that, Jeff.
We're not doing that.
Jeff's inside the rooms apparently again.
I mean, if people are thinking Mike Sanders still, if you guys want to,
I'm seeing a lot of people say, well, like ETN, why isn't he in the poll?
Well, I see one. Is there more?
I wasn't going to be the guy to say it.
Yeah, he's like, I'm seeing a lot of people talk about it.
Oh, man. I'm sorry. That got me. Got me.
So Darius is the pick according to the people. So there
man.
you go. We'll do Darius Robinson. We just got to find his ass here. All right, we're gonna have to
behind Leggett. Just saying.
There you go. All right.
You're lucky we didn't do betting. We'll do bets next week, Lucas. If you see what Xavier Leggett's line is, you're gonna feel disrespected.
Oh, I know.
What do you
underdog mentality of why he's gonna be a great player, Booner? People like you.
I'm a Xavier Leggett fan.
You sit down.
It's not your pick. Give me AD Mitchell, Jeff.
Great pick there, Mike. All right, Klotz.
For the Niners. All right. They could go any type of way here. Give a scroll. All right. I think I'm gonna do this. They need offensive line, but it's a deep tackle draft. It's a deep interior offensive lineman draft as far as we look at the second round goes. And I think I just got to give him BPA. They lost a little bit in the secondary, so I think the best defensive player as far as in the backfield goes is Mike Sanders still. I'm going to add him to the 49ers, and I think that's a terrible move for Lions fans as far as where they're going, but I think if John Lynch sees Mikey Sanders still up there, he's going to take him.
I like that.
Fair.
Mikey, is it my pick now? Do I have the Chiefs?
Hufunga roaming back there?
No,
yep,
I have the Chiefs.
Oh.
Yep, and I'm going to go.
I'm
doing Lad McConkey.
Oh no! Lucas,
I
thought I had the Chiefs, and I had someone in my head.
Who was the player?
Xavier Leggett.
Oh, we're going Lad.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jeff. Go ahead and take Lad. I love Lad, but he ain't no Xavier.
No, I'm not saying he is. Not saying he is. All right. Well, there you go. There's our first round mock. I think it was a lot better, no trades than prior weeks. We will probably post this on our socials just to show it off to the people. I think this one's actually not that bad.
I think this is probably our best one. We could have drafted the tackles a little bit more high. Well, no trades. It's kind of hard to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, they're pretty spread out. It's like every 2 picks there was one taken in the teens. So
yeah. I'm downloading that.
I don't know why Adam hates pick 9. That's probably one of the most mock picks this offseason.
I would personally go offensive line, if that's just my fault. That's just my thing.
Adam he's got something wrong with him today. man needed a drink.
Was that your pick, Boone?
No, it wasn't.
No, I was pick 9. So.
He didn't like pick 3 either.
Fuck you.
I don't care. I don't care.
I don't like pick 3 either. That's your worst situation, Boone, and you took him there.
It is, but I just think they're going to want a quarterback, and whoever they fall for, I would hate for JJ to go to the Patriots, dude. I would hate that for a guy like him. I would have to take back every single one of my takes and walk back if that happened.
Yeah, don't want to roll the tapes on that one.
I can't put mine. No, I've made it very clear. If he goes to the Patriots, everything I've said is voided. It's completely voided. If he goes to a bad situation, it's all voided. That's been very well known. Voided. I want that clip.
Any bad situation or just New England?
Any bad situation. He needs to. Me and Jeff have had this conversation. JJ needs to get in a good situation, whether he starts right away or not, or he maybe has a chance to sit a year like in the Giants, goes in there and sits for a year, let Dan, let him go out there, whatever his name is, go out there and do his thing, and then you take over. And then invite Minnesota. He has a chance to sit and learn a little bit. Everything I said is voided though if he goes to the Patriots.
Okay.
No.
They should go Marv Boone.
I think if they don't get who they like, if they don't like someone, I think they just trade back.
Before we get to Mailbag here, while everyone's still tuning in, don't forget next week will be the final week to be able to buy your tickets to our draft extravaganza. So please, link is in the description. It'll be a lot of fun. We'll be down at Bookie's Bar and Grill This isn't the updated flyer. I do want to kind of put that up. So let me show that off just so people kind of get the insight there. But we'll be down there. We'll be down there early. All day till like probably
8 a.m. until the end of the draft. Probably.
Yeah, we'll be down there. We'll be around
Detroit. Everything.
Here's the updated graphic. Here, I want to show the people this one. Okay. So it's just our sponsor, and along with a QR code, which you could check out and you could scan, you can get your tickets. They're all available. There's a theme with the party as well. And all the proceeds, portion of the proceeds, and raffle sales as well go to Children's Hospital of Michigan, 90s of Varsity Blues theme. So if you dress up, decide to, best outfit, you win some cash, which is great. And if you buy a ticket, it comes with a free draft tee. You get a raffle entry for signed Lions memorabilia. There'll be former Red Wings players, Lions players, and on top of that, there'll be a live DJ. DJ BJ does a lot of work for the Lions as well. He's great. And we'll do a live show all night. So please come hang out with us, get your tickets, because I'm telling you right now, it's going to be impossible to get downtown. Just pre-warning. Yeah. It's going to be 500,000.
They said like 300. Yeah, which is crazy, dude.
It's going to be wild. So if you want a guaranteed spot, you get your tickets. It's well worth it. Prices are only going up next week. Not for us, but for a lot of places. So get your tickets. All right,
you're going to be downtown, and you can go do all this stuff. I think all of the events and everything open up at noon. The draft doesn't start until like 7 or 8. So if you go downtown for the draft and do all the events, go see the experience, the stage, it's probably going to be tough to actually watch the draft at the stage, especially with the Lions picking at 29. You might as well, if you're going to want to be downtown and be down there, get a ticket to this. There's free food and drinks, and like it's worth it. You're going to be able to meet literally like Lions players, Red Wings, like legends. Everyone's going to be there. It's like the perfect opportunity if you want to go to a really good event put on by great people, good cause as well. Listen, we're going to be breaking everything down as well. It's like the perfect event to where if you're downtown for the draft, you're sitting there, okay, we've seen everything already. Where can we watch the draft downtown? Pay a little bit here and you get free food and free drinks, and you get to listen to us kind of break it down live. You can have a Kool-Aid drink with me, everything you want. It's like literally a perfect event downtown. There's going to be other places downtown that are going to charge just as much, but you'll be able to watch us. You'll be able to interact with former Lions and Red Wings, and maybe even some, I'm not going to say that, but maybe even some other guests that stop by as well.
And you get to see if Booner's actually 4'9". You get to see he's not 4'9" when you come see him. He's not. So you can confirm
250.
That. Let's get to mailbag. We'll get a couple questions here. Ed asks, Eduardo O'Neill, mailbag, if Hutch goes down for a few weeks, are you comfortable with what we have in the D-line right now? No.
Well, we have Marcus Davenport, so we're in safe hands.
Not comfortable.
We got Betts too.
Yep. Answer 14. I think the Lions draft 2 starters and 2 guys who will develop into starters. What do you predict? That's typically how that goes. I mean, he's going to find 2 to 3 guys that are starters and then other guys that'll be developmental players. But I think we're all agreeing on that. It's kind of.
I've heard some things of people saying that they don't think anyone will start. Any of the draft picks will start.
If they draft a corner, there's definitely a chance he can contend for the CB2. And if they draft an edge, I think depending on where they draft that edge,
by default.
Yeah. And then kicker will start. There you go. I got you. So there's 3.
You don't know that. Already slandering the money badger. Look at you guys. Here we go again. Do I need to sit you down and remind you of the 51-yarder that he get against the Rams?
Dude, what?
Do you not understand what I just said, Boone?
I don't know what side you're on when it comes to the kicker, because we've had this conversation. You've been on our side.
Nope. Money badger I'm loyal with.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, ETN asks top 5 MVP candidates this season.
I'm going to go.
Joe Burrow's winning MVP. I'm just doing
Josh Allen, number 1.
Yeah, no.
Joe Burrow.
Nope. CJ Stroud, Joe Burrow, Mahomes.
Josh Allen.
McCaffrey.
Josh Allen.
Joe Burrow.
Oh, you ready? Aaron Rodgers.
That's a good one. I've got my 5. Ready?
That's a good one.
Go, Boom.
Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, CJ Stroud, Joe Burrow,
Jared Goff.
And Jared Goff.
Oh, my
God. You had to steal my thunder like that, huh? Why'd you have to steal my thunder?
Dude, no.
You stole my thunder. No. You stole my thunder. Stole my thunder.
You'd put Goff MVP wise over like, I didn't think you were actually going to say it, over like C-Mac, Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson.
He's going to have a big year. He's going to have a big year.
McCaffrey, TJ Watt.
I told you if he has a big year and they win 13 games, he's a finalist.
I disagree.
Fair.
Wrong.
My list is pretty similar to Lucas's. I mean, Mahomes, Burrow, CJ Stroud, Aaron Rodgers, and Christian McCaffrey's a good one. I mean, I think but I don't know. I'd probably throw a quarterback in there.
Hurts. It's Jalen Hurts.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one, too.
Yeah.
He's going to go nuts again this season, boys.
Yeah.
Everybody.
I said that, too. He's bouncing back.
I've never seen a quarterback get, like, less credit for a team than Jalen Hurts has. Like, I understand, like, he's not the sole reason, but people just act like Jalen Hurts is a bum now. And
it's not a bum, but
people act like he's not a top 10 quarterback in the league. And it's like, this going into the season, people are arguing with him as a top 3 guy. And it's like one season with a bad knee and a bad OC and a team falling apart. Now he's just average again, and it makes no sense.
ETN brought up Lamar. I don't think Lamar should have won it last year, and I've actually defended Lamar a lot in the past. Shout out to Adam. Me and him used to argue about him, and I got a lot of respect for Lamar.
Such a bad quarterback year. It was such a bad quarterback year.
Yeah, and I don't think Lamar. I think there'll be better quarterbacks next year. That's just my opinion on that.
Everyone got hurt last year too.
Yeah.
I would like people to do this. Like compare Lamar's first MVP numbers to his second MVP numbers.
It's not the same.
Yeah, that's true.
No, it's completely different.
I think Lamar's talent will always have him like in that conversation, but also at the same time, like they signed Derrick Henry for a reason. Like they should pound the foot, but he shouldn't be their offense. Like it's not sustainable. But anyway, the Ronan Mailbag.
Proven that.
How far back would you reasonably trade? You're talking about from 29? I mean, probably in the 30s. I'm not going any higher than that.
Yeah.
So 40s is a little steep.
Yeah. All right, boys. We'll call it there. Great show. Hey, that was a lot of fun. Thank you, everyone, for sticking around, supporting the fellas. We're almost at 6,000 subscribers. So please tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. And get your draft ticket. It's in the description.
Tickets.
Come hang out with the fellas. Shout out to everyone. ETN, Phil, Frank, Adam,
love you guys, man.
14, Rony 99, Jimmy Bach, Easy was in here earlier. We appreciate you. And to everyone, have a great weekend. Stay safe out there. And we'll catch you Monday.
Appreciate
Till then.
y'all.